Today, the San Francisco 49ers against the New Orleans Saints.
We are live at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, as the New Orleans Saints, off to the best start in their history, go against the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are 4-2, tied for first in the NFC West along with the LA Rams. This is Dick Stockton along with Wayne Walker, and you're looking at Morton Anderson, the hero of last week's game for the Saints. And Bill Ring and Dana McLemore are deep for the opening kickoff. Anderson's field goal with no time remaining gave the Saints their fourth win in 6 games, both teams with identical records.
Dick, they're calling this game the biggest game in 4 years down here for the Saints in New Orleans, looking back to a game against the Oakland Raiders on a Monday night when Ken Stabler was then playing quarterback for the Oakland Raiders.
It's Mardi Gras in October. Some 4,000 fans greeted the Saints when they came back from Atlanta. You're going to hear a lot of this crowd today. We have a sellout as the kickoff goes into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the 49ers will take it out at the 20. So taking a look at the NFC Western Division, the Saints, the 49ers, and the Rams. In quite a race, all 4-2. Atlanta brings up the rear at 2-4. Now let's take a look at the 49ers offense. Joe Montana. Wendell Tyler is back. He's been out several weeks with a dislocated left shoulder. Bill Ring is the fullback, and Dwight Clark and Freddie Solomon the familiar wide receivers. And the fine offensive line. Harris, Ayers, Quillen, Crossan, Fawnhorst, and Russ Francis starting at tight end. 1st and 10 at the 20. Play action, and Montana gets it off to Wendell Tyler, who holds onto the ball at the 24-yard line, a pickup of 4, and Jim Kovach, the inside linebacker, makes the tackle. Taking a look at the Saints defense, Bruce Clark, Derlin Moore, and Jim Wilkes up front, ranked number 4 overall in the NFC. Ricky Jackson, Kovach, who made the tackle, Dirt Winston, and Whitney Paul, the linebackers. Dave Waymer, Johnny Poe, Russell Gary, and Frank Watlett in the secondary. Saints' strength is on defense and a running attack on offense. 2nd down, 6. And here's Tyler. And Tyler stops short of a first down by 1.5 yards. Wendell Tyler, who was injured in the Atlanta game, and the big concern of Bill Walsh.
Well, I think that what they're doing right now is getting him involved in the game right away. He hasn't had contact in over 2 weeks. He practiced all week, starting right out for Monday, but they want to get him adjusted again to getting hit. And so he has handled the ball on the first 2 plays.
And Walsh told us yesterday that the one fear he has, because he hasn't played, is the fumbling factor. 3rd down and 1 at the 29. And here is Wendell Tyler. He has the first down as he found a hole off the right side, brings it out to the 35. The strong safety Russell Gary made the tackle, a 6-yard pickup for Tyler, who was born in Shreveport, Louisiana.
And watch Russell Gary, number 20, come over and make a saver. Tyler breaks it here. A good block by Russ Francis on Ricky Jackson to pave the way. And Gary was there. Tyler had big yardage.
Wendell was looking for a 100-yard game for the 3rd consecutive contest when he was injured against the Falcons. Bill Walsh on the sidelines. 1st and 10 at the 35. Montana under pressure. He gets it away to Eason Ramson, the tight end, who makes the play just short of the 40-yard line. The right cornerback, Johnny Poe, makes the stop. Eason Ramson in his 5th year and was the 3rd tight end on the Super Bowl team.
Double tight ends for the 49ers now. Blitz right there, number 56, Dirt Winston in with a hand on Montana, but as he does so well, improvised and gets it out to Eason Ramson.
Kovach almost got a hand on that pass. It'll be a pickup of 4, 2nd and 6 at the 39. 49ers at 4-2, the same record they had in their Super Bowl year 2 years ago. And the pitch to Tyler. He's got blockers, but the Saints converge, and Tyler is stopped at the 41-yard line by Ricky Jackson and Dave Waymer. So no question that they want Tyler to get into the flow early, Wayne.
They want to establish the run because they definitely didn't have it last week. Wendell Tyler is so important to them. Bill Walsh said playing without Tyler for his offense is tantamount to Dallas playing without Tony Dorsett. He's that important to them.
He really adds a different dimension to this club.
Well, he's the kind of back like Eric Dickerson of the Rams or George Rogers or Wayne Wilson. Here you might stop him for a while, but sooner or later he's going to break one on you.
3rd and 3 for Montana at the 42-yard line. to Bill Ring, and Bill Ring has the first down for the 49ers beyond the 45. He's knocked out of bounds at the 47 by Ricky Jackson. So there's that man, Bill Ring, one of the great overachievers in the league.
This is just a long handoff to the 49ers. He looks downfield, nothing there, and then just pumps it out in the flat here, safety valve, and has Ring running against Ricky Jackson, the linebacker, for the first down. You see a lot of that from San Francisco.
49ers offensively last week, their run-pass ratio favored the pass more than in any game this year, but they ran more often on first down than in any game. At the 48, 1st and 10. Montana to run for it, and heading out of bounds. Whitney Paul chases him out of bounds in New Orleans territory at the 47-yard line, and he picked up a good 5 as the receivers were covered well downfield.
What's happening here now is that Montana is single-handedly moving the 49ers on this drive. New Orleans has had good penetration from their defensive line. They've troubled him 3 or 4 times already, but he still rolls out, improvises, and makes some yardage.
He was out of sync a bit in last week's game. He was not in control like he had been in the previous 4. Oddly enough, he rose from 3rd to 2nd rated quarterback in the conference. Jeff Moore, number 25, is in the game. He's a good pass receiver out of the backfield. 2nd and 5. And on a reverse, here's Dwight Clark trying to turn the corner, and Clark is stopped short of a first down by about 2 yards. Good pursuit by the Saints, and in particular, Kovac and the cornerback Dave Waymer.
Well, it was Waymer that really made the play. The cornerback wasn't fooled at all, held his ground out here. You'll see Clark behind a pulling guard with the ball. 44, Waymer will string it out. Look at him play that block by John Ayers. He's given away about 40 pounds out there and did a fine job.
Greg Stemrick comes in, the former Houston Oiler who was cut and on suspension because of the drug violations of the league. Stemrick and Vernon Perry on this team, 2 former Oilers, backing up. It is 3rd and 3 at the 45. Montana flips it out to Jeff Moore. First down as he goes down the sidelines and knocked out of bounds at the 38 by Johnny Poe. Here's a man who didn't play much last week, 100%, Jeff Moore, who's a good receiver and the leading rusher last year for the Niners.
Well, he was 5th in the NFC in catches last year for the 49ers, and he gives them a little added dimension. They can bring him in and spot him with Wendell Tyler, and he catches the ball extremely well.
So it's like a surgeon. Joe Montana so far. A little bit to the left, a little reverse, and of course the runs off tackle. 1st and 10 for San Francisco on the Saint 38. And this capacity crowd has been silent so far. No wonder. Montana with enough time now gets loose, and he's got a wide open field. And he's going to run for the flag. He'll be short by a couple. Dennis Winston chased him. Bill Walsh, I think, doesn't look pleased right now.
Well, he doesn't really have a whole lot going here offensively, except for number 16, Montana. New Orleans is playing good defense. It's extremely demoralizing right now for them because they're getting good pressure on Montana. They're covering the people downfield, yet the 49ers are still making yards. What they can't do now is get flustered. They got to continue doing what they're doing because they're playing good.
There is Bum Phillips, who has really turned this ball club around. And now he feels that if the team can just win 4 of the 6 next time and then split the final 4, he can get into the playoffs with 10 and 6, and maybe he'll be better than that. 2nd and 4 at the 32 of the Saints. Pressure, Ricky Jackson pressuring Montana, gets it off to Bill Ring, who has the first down at the 25-yard line. Kovac made the hit, and they're nickel and diming the Saints so far, but the 49ers continue to move the ball, and they have a first down.
Watch Montana make things happen again here. Now, Ricky Jackson, number 57, will be on the blitz coming on the left side of your screen. Good protection right now. He's picked up by the guard Randy Cross, but Montana has to duck under and find Ring. Blitz usually means that the defense then is in man-to-man, so they're going to have to clamp down a little bit closer on those back coming out of the backfield to get this stop.
Montana is a perfect 5 for 5 for 28 yards. This is the 11th play of the drive coming up, started at the 49er 20. 1st and 10 at the 25. Bill Ring, following Bubba Parris's block, gets a couple of yards off to the left side. Jim Wilkes, the right end, and Russell Gary, the safety, make the tackle. So the 49ers come into this game and not minding at all playing away from home. They have won 6 in a row away from Candlestick Park in 12 of their last 13 games, and they love the artificial surface.
Bill Walsh thinks they're a better team on artificial surface because they're extremely fast and quick at the skill positions. Those people that catch the ball and run with it.
They won 9 straight on artificial turf. 2nd and 8 at the 23. Bill Ring and Wendell Tyler in the backfield now. Less than 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. No score. Niners with ball control. And this pass is caught by Dwight Clark at the 10-yard line. And it'll be another first down for San Francisco. You know, sooner or later, that man's going to get open.
And they want you to be in a zone because he runs down there and runs option patterns, breaks it up right there into the open spot in the zone. And Montana has it for him right on time.
Dwight Clark now 2nd in the league in receiving behind Roy Green of the Cardinals. He's caught 26 passes in the last 4 games coming into this one, and this marks the 50th straight game in which Dwight has caught a pass. So it's 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line for the 49ers. In motion is Freddie Solomon. And here's Tyler. Trapped. Way back to the 25. And he makes a fine job, fine effort for Wendell Tyler to get back to make it only a 5-yard loss. He looked like he might have been caught for a 10-yard loss.
Good penetration over on the left side here by New Orleans. Number 57, Ricky Jackson, back there taking on 2 blockers and getting Tyler to run backwards with the football. Super effort by the left linebacker Jackson.
And Jim Wilkes and Frank Watlett finally made the tackle. Frank Warren, number 73, comes in for the Saints along with Tony Elliott, 99, and number 98, Reggie Lewis. They're their pass rushers, and so they have their nickel defense in. It's 2nd and 15 at the 15. In motion is Bill Ring. Montana drills it, and it's caught at the 5-yard line. Dwight Clark again, open.
Clark again. New Orleans that time, even though they had the nickel in, no blitz. They just rushed 4 down linemen, played the zone, and he found an open spot as he does so well.
The 49ers can get a first down without scoring. They have 3rd down at about 4 right now, and that's less than a yard.
What New Orleans will want to do right now, Dick, make sure that the linebackers are in the game, get a good check on the receivers that are in there and slow them down at the line of scrimmage. That'll be important here for them.
Clark is to the left, Solomon to the right. On 3rd and 4, Montana lofts it, and it's overthrown. No penalty markers are down, so the Saints, who have had to be on defense all the way with 6:27 remaining in the first quarter, have stopped the 49ers, who will now to try to get on the board with a Ray Wersching field goal.
Wersching's last attempt in the final seconds of the Los Angeles game last week was blocked. He might say he's not thinking about it, but it'll be on his mind.
It'll be a 23-yard attempt. Wersching has missed just that one. Holding is Montana, and the kick is up. It is good. And Ray Wersching, after hitting his first 8 and missing in the last play of the game against the Rams, puts the 49ers in front with 6:24 remaining in the first quarter. There's a scoring drive, and it took over 8.5 minutes. So normally the 49ers, not a ball control team, doing it right there.
And you figure 17 plays, that points out that New Orleans really didn't make any mistakes on defense.
Wayne Wilson on the right and Kenny Duckett on the left for the Saints, and Ray Wersching will be kicking off for the 49ers, who lead it 3-0. The teams played one time last year, and that was at Candlestick Park, and the Saints beat the 49ers 23-20. It is a short kick, and it is Kenny Duckett at the 5, and Duckett is stopped at the 21-yard line. A 16-yard return. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker here at the Superdome, and we're waiting for this place to explode. We know it will sooner or later.
I think it's going to be another one of those typical NFC West games that goes right down to the wire. It seems like they all have, both coaches say that they feel this division is the toughest, and it's just going to get tougher as the season goes.
Let's take a look at the Saints offensively. Kenny Stabler, the veteran. George Rogers back as a starter with Wayne Wilson, who did a heck of a job with Rogers out. Lindsey Scott and Jeff Groth, the wide receivers, and a very superb offensive line. Hobie Brenner is the tight end. 1st and 10 at the 21 now. The Snake gives it off to George Rogers. And Rogers, with terrific acceleration, gets the ball out to about the 25-yard line, and Dwight Hicks makes the tackle. Jim Stuckey is starting at left end. with John Hardy out of there. Pete Kugler and Dwayne Board up front, and the linebackers, Harper and Turner outside. Ricky Ellison, the rookie, and Jack Reynolds, the veteran, inside. And Tim Collier again starts for Ronnie Lott, who is out. Bobby Leopold, the converted linebacker, is at strong safety. Eric Wright and Dwight Hicks at their usual positions. Second down and 6 at the 25 for Kenny Stabler, who has 5 TD passes, 6 interceptions this year. In the air for the first time, and he goes to his tight end, Hobie Brenner, who has become a favorite of his, as I guess all tight ends are.
Possession type guy, great big fella. He's about 6'5", 240 pounds, and Bum Phillips says he's not a good dancer, but he'll dance every dance. He uses his body extremely well, shields the ball from the defender.
Tina Turner defended him right there. A pickup of about 9 yards. Call it 3rd and 1, and it's a long one for the Saints. 5:05 remaining in the first quarter. 3-0. The 49ers lead the Saints. Battle of 2 of the 3 leaders in the NFC West. Here's Rodgers. Trapped. And he is stopped. Fumbles. And the 49ers feel that they've recovered, and they have. George Rodgers fumbles on 3rd and 1, and the 49ers have recovered in New Orleans territory. And the first big turnover of this game.
If I'm not mistaken, a fine play here by Hacksaw Reynolds, number 64, who got good penetration. I don't know whether he was on a blitz or just read this extremely well. And look at the penetration he got. Took on the blockers there, jammed it up, forced the ball inside, and then you see the ball come away. But Hacksaw Reynolds with a good read got back there and blew that play up.
Dwight Hicks also on the force. Eric Wright recovered it. So it's 1st and 10 for the 49ers at the 27 of the Saints, leading 3-0. Montana looking downfield, finds his favorite, Dwight Clark, still going inside the 15-yard line, and a first down at the 12. Frank Watlet and Russell Gary, the 2 safeties, bring down Dwight Clark, who has led the NFL the last 2 years in receiving.
This was a planned scramble this time, and it wasn't planned to be a scramble. It's just a planned rollout. Watch him come outside here, Montana, as you watch Clark come across the middle. He's reading Montana. Body language, the 2 of them have. They've always seemed to have it. Montana rolls out and looks right away for Clark and seems to always know where he is.
A 14-yard pickup, Montana to Clark. 1st and 10 at the 13. Solomon to the right. Draw play. Wendell Tyler hit at the 10-yard line and stopped right there. Derlin Moore and Bruce Clark up front made the tackle on Wendell Tyler, whose biggest day as a professional against the Saints back in '79 when he gained 141 yards.
For a defensive team, this is a tough spot on the field, not because you're down in the shadow of your goalpost, but the fact that now the offense can get a first down without getting into the end zone on you. You just as soon have them get to the 10-yard line originally, so they only have 4 more downs. But San Francisco, where they are, they just now have to go to the 2-yard line or 2.5 for a first down.
2nd down, 6. They're at the 9. Tyler, ganged up.
They better stop trying Ricky Jackson over there because he just made another sensational play.
Thing about Ricky Jackson, remember a couple of years ago, he was really bothered by a lack of recognition. Hugh Green, who was the big name player on the University of Pittsburgh team. And then, of course, Lawrence Taylor is the class of '81, but now he's strictly a team man. He wants to win. He's not so concerned with the recognition thing.
And he says he can take some chances now. Perhaps he did on that last play because he had great penetration. He knows the defense better. They know him better. He knows where everyone is. And he said, we just all work well together. We've been together now for about 2 or 3 years.
That's a 5-yard loss, and it sets the ball back to the 14. It is 3rd and 11 for Joe Montana. 4-man front with Reggie Lewis and Tony Elliott in there, and Frank Warren for the Saints. Montana fires it, and it's deflected away. Frank Watlet, I think, got a hand on it, but Waymer was covering Dwight Clark like a blanket.
And the blitz was on. Plenty of pressure on Montana. He couldn't set and throw like he wanted to, and had to release before he had to. Watch it here. Looks good right now, but then it starts to break down, and here comes Jackson, 57. It forces him to throw early. Dwight Clark in the end zone and well covered.
And Ray Wersching will try to put the 49ers up 6-0. This will be a 31-yard attempt. And with Montana holding, Ray does just that. So Wershing is 2 for 2 and now 10 of 11 on the season with a 32-yard field goal. And with 2:22 remaining in the first quarter, it's the Niners 6 and the Saints nothing. It's 6-0, and the Saints fans say it can happen here. Right now they're trailing 6-0, and that may not be too bad if they can get on the board, because the 49ers have had the ball most of this quarter. Wayne Wilson on the left, and Duckett is on the right. And Duckett, who's second in the NFC in kickoff returns, takes it out at the 2-yard line. And brings it out to the 20. Milt McCall makes the tackle for the 49ers, an 18-yard return. Duckett returned the kickoff to set up that last and winning drive for the Saints against the Falcons last week. And a pretty fine wide receiver at that.
New Orleans has got to feel pretty good right now, Dick, that they've escaped the fact that the 49ers haven't scored a touchdown, and 2 times they've been inside the 10-yard line. It's only 6-0, so New Orleans can stay right with the game plan they started the game with.
49ers with a record of 4-2 lost their opener to Philadelphia, won 4 in a row before the Rams beat them last week. And the Saints starting out at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Rodgers, who fumbled the last time he carried, moves it out 2 yards to the 22-yard line. Right in the middle of that pile is Ricky Ellison, who helped make the tackle. Ellison is playing very well. He is a draft choice out of USC in his 5th round, and he had his number changed from 69 to number 50. There have been a lot of that on the 49ers this year, Wayne.
Yeah, Ellison has really come along, though, for them. He was their number 5 draft choice. Blanchard Montgomery, another inside linebacker, was drafted earlier than him, but they played about even during the preseason and training camp, and Ellison actually won the inside spot playing next to Jack Reynolds now.
And he's played very well indeed. Started from the start at USC and has been a starter since the opening game in San Francisco. 2nd and 8 at the 23 for Kenny Stabler. Under pressure, Fred Dean is trying to get him, and he gets the pass off, and it's caught by Hobie Brenner. The tight end brings it out to the 37-yard line, and a 1st down for the Saints. Eric Wright makes the tackle.
So there's another 16 on the field that can move around a little bit and get out of trouble. Kenny Stabler that time, with big pressure from the 49ers, rolled outside and found Brenner, the tight end, who was working against Bobby Leopold, a converted linebacker. Watch it break down for Stabler here. He'll get out of trouble. Get it to Brenner, who uses his body, keeps the body between the ball and the defender again, and there was a penalty on that play also, I believe, on Leopold.
The penalty, Gene Barth, the referee. It'll be 1st and 10 now at the 38-yard line. .120 remaining in the first quarter. George Rodgers and Fred Dean and Ricky Ellison bring him down at the 41-yard line in a pickup of about 4. Tampa Bay against St. Louis, 2 teams struggling. Buccaneers in front. Pittsburgh.
They're starting to score a few points now, even with Terry Bradshaw out of there. That's just in the first quarter.
Battling for first place in the AFC Central.
Bud Grant always seems to get it done, doesn't he? Every year, year in, year out.
Leading in that division in San Diego over New England 7-0. So after a 3-yard gain, it is 2nd and 7 for the Saints. Less than a minute to go in the first quarter. They're at the 41. Kenny Stabler under pressure. Gets it off, and it's caught at the 50, and penalty markers are down. Lindsey Scott grabs it at midfield and at the 48, and Tim Collier all over him. They have been called as well. Here's Gene Barth.
Defensive pass interference, 47, penalty refused, 1st down.
That was just a great throw by Stabler. He was looking over to his left all the time. Finally, at the last minute, came back here, goes to Scott. You see Collier up over, contact with his chest as he went for the ball. I don't know about that call.
So the Saints with their biggest penetration at the 47 of San Francisco. 1st and 10, 36 seconds to go, and an audible called by Kenny Stabler. Gives it to Rodgers. Hit once. And brings it up to the 42-yard line. Hacksaw Reynolds makes the tackle. And right now, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick Billy Sims is back after missing 3 games for the Lions. They put him into this short yardage situation, and he scored a touchdown against Chicago. Lions 7, Bears nothing. Back to Dick and Wayne.
Thank you, Brent. So Billy Sims back in action. We saw George Rogers pick up 5. It is 2nd and 5 at the 42. 6-0, the 49ers lead, and the first quarter is going to come to an end. And the gun sounds. And the New Orleans Saints on the march here. But after 1 quarter of play, it's San Francisco leading New Orleans 6-0. This is Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker at the Superdome in New Orleans as we start the second quarter. The 49ers lead 6-0 and have dominated the time of possession thanks to a turnover and a long drive at the first quarter. It is 2nd and 5 at the 42, and Wayne Wilson dives forward for a first down for the Saints. Here is a do-it-all running back for New Orleans in the absence of George Rogers, who is out for several games with a sprained ligament of his knee. He rushed for 100 yards in 3 consecutive games. No other Saint running back had ever done it, but now he takes on a different role, Wayne.
Well, he does. He's a blocker now and a receiver. For Rogers, he was originally drafted by Bum Phillips when Bum was at Houston, and Bum had to cut him in the last cut of the year.
1st and 10 at the 35. Stabler going up top and overthrows. Hobie Brenner, the tight end. Bobby Leopold, who was the converted linebacker, was defending.
We're talking about Wilson earlier, Dick. Let's finish that. Bum Phillips did cut him the last cut of the year when he was at Houston, and then Wilson came over here and picked up with New Orleans. And then when Bum Phillips came as the coach here, Wayne Wilson said, I knew that I really had to put out in training camp. I wanted to prove to him that he made a mistake by cutting me in Houston, and he has certainly done that.
Well, in Houston, they had a veteran club, and he didn't have much experience. But right here with the young team, he fit in.
Well, they brought Boobie Clark in, remember, the big fullback, and he had the experience, and it was just a numbers game for him.
2nd down and 10 at the 35 for the Saints. Trailing 6-0. George Rogers, trying to get ahead of steam, is knocked out of bounds, and another Saint first down at the 21-yard line. Freddie Dean and Tim Collier chased him.
Kind of an old crossbuck thing right here. Wilson goes one way, Rogers goes the other. Bounces it out here. He came back after a knee problem earlier in the year. Rogers was hurt in the 2nd game of the year against the Rams, back at full strength now.
And don't forget, in that first game of the year, he gained 206 yards against the Cardinals. That was the first time he had gained 200 or more yards, so he got off to a good start this year.
He's slimmer and in better shape than he's been in his career.
1st and 10 for the Saints on the 49er 22. Pass, Lindsey Scott. That's Jeff Groth, not Scott, but Jeff Groth at the 10-yard line. And right in Eric Wright's territory. We were talking, Eric Wright, about that kind of a play, weren't we?
Well, Eric Wright knew when we sat down with him yesterday that he was going to be busy because number 16 is left-handed. Most passers, of course, in National Football League throw to the right because they're right-handed, but not Stabler. Eric knew he'd be in for a busy day, and he's got a good one to take care of right there, and Jeff Groth, he's the possession guy for the Saints.
1st and 10 for the Saints on the 11-yard line. Tyrone Young, number 89, is in the game, and another audible. He is a tight end. Stabler going for Young. It was against Miami that Tyrone Young caught a similar pass for a touchdown. He is 6'6", and they like that alley-oop play. And, of course, our viewers out on the West Coast with R.C. Owens remember that kind of play. Tim Collier defending, but he's awfully tall.
Now, Tim Collier, the guy he's working against at cornerback, number 47, starting for Ronnie Lott there, is an exceptionally good cover man. He can run and cover with anybody, perhaps as good as they have on the 49ers. He doesn't have Lott's physical ability as far as tackling and things like that, but he can cover.
2nd down and 10 at the 11, and they move Tyrone Young out to the left. And here's Wayne Wilson, who's tripped up by Keenan Turner. And a fine play by Turner, who penetrated and got a hand on Wayne Wilson and prevented what looked like to be a decent gain by Wayne off the left side.
Looked like he may have had something. Had he got around the corner, it was just going to be him and Jack Reynolds. Keenan Turner, number 58, the outside right linebacker on the right side. He'll come down low, reach in there, and trip him up. Turner having another good year.
49ers with 6 new players in on defense in their pass defense alignment. So with the loss of a yard, it is 3rd and 11 at the 12. Rogers, Wilson, and Wilson is hit at the 12, and it'll be a 4th down situation. So both defenses, this time it was Keena Turner and Dwight Hicks, have closed the door when the offense was threatening to score, and it'll be 4th down, and so Morton Anderson comes on out of Bum Phillips' Bible.
Young Anderson there won the game last week against Atlanta with a field goal. Great leg.
28-yard attempt. Anderson has not missed inside the 40 in his 2 years with the Saints, and he keeps the record perfect. 11 for 11 inside the 40. So Morton Anderson puts the Saints on the scoreboard, and with 12:04 remaining in the second quarter, it's a 6-3 ball game. And a pretty good drive by the New Orleans Saints. 12 plays, using up nearly 5.5 minutes, and capped by Morton Anderson's 28-yard field goal, and it is now 6-3, and Anderson will be kicking off. He's out of Michigan State. He got hurt on the opening kickoff of his rookie year last year against the Cardinals. Dana McLemore and Bill Ring is back, and it's McLemore at the 5. And McLemore is hit right about the 20-yard line, and a penalty flag is down. Jimmy Rogers and Vernon Perry make the stop. Gene Barth will tell us what the penalty's all about. Both teams come in with pretty fine defenses, and it is a holding penalty against the 49ers. San Francisco number 2 overall in the NFC. 49ers with the best rushing defense. The Saints the best rushing defense in the conference.
Illegal block in the back. Number 89, junior run back. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Earl Cooper in what has become a familiar call now. Illegal block. So the 49ers will start it out 1st and 10 when we come back to the Superdome in New Orleans with the score 6-3 San Francisco. Last week, Bill Walsh's team had poor field position throughout most of the game, and Bill told us a lot of it was on poor fielding of punts. Right now, 1st and 10 at the 10 as a result of a penalty. Montana 8 of 10 for 64 yards. Going up top, and it's intercepted by Russell Gary. And Gary at the 20-yard line. Inside the 15. Second interception of the year for Russell Gary of Nebraska.
I believe Montana was going for Jeff Moore, who had run a circle pattern coming out of the backfield. There he is, Moore, number 25. The ball was just overthrown by Montana, and Russell Gary makes a big play for the Saints.
Dwight Clark. And Russell Gary, who was out with a hamstring and a 20-yard return of the interception. 1st and 10. George Rogers with Wayne Wilson blocking. Gets inside the 10-yard line. And a pickup of about 4 yards on the play. So as a result of that turnover, and for Joe Montana, it is only his 5th interception of the season. The New Orleans Saints in a position to take the lead.
Keep in mind that Gary returned that ball to almost the 13-yard line. So New Orleans, again, like the 49ers earlier, can get a 1st down before they get in the end zone.
11:15 remaining in the second quarter, and the Saints threaten. Penalty flag is down, and the 30-second clock expired, so we'll have a delay of the game call against the Saints.
That doesn't happen to New Orleans very often, Dick, because Ken Stabler calls his own plays out there, so he doesn't have to wait for one to come in.
Kenny Stabler, we were talking to Bum Phillips yesterday about the togetherness this club has. He says the key to it all is Kenny.
He says that he's got us all in the palm of his hands. He says, I love close football games because I got Stabler as my quarterback. He says he's better than having a coach on the field because he can play.
We're checking for a malfunction in the 30-second clock.
Well, it doesn't happen to Kenny after all, perhaps.
It did seem like they got out of the huddle in pretty good shape and got out there and got that ball snapped. It may have jumped 10 seconds on him, and I think that's what Bum wants to find out.
And while we're waiting for them to figure out the clock story, let's bring you up to date on some scores. Miami and the New York Jets 7-7 in the second quarter.
With a malfunction in a 30-second clock, there is no penalty.
Minnesota leading Houston 17-7, and the capacity crowd loves that call. San Diego over New England 14-3 in the second quarter.
Do you think they had to bring a watchmaker in to find out if there was or was not a malfunction? How'd they find out so fast?
That was in a hurry, didn't they?
Yes, it was. Bum was right. He was on top of it.
So instead of a 5-yard loss, we'll replay the down. It'll be 2nd and 6 at the 9-yard line. Eugene Goodlow, number 88, Kenny Duckett, 83, are in the game at wide receiver, and Larry Hardy is a tight end now at number 87. Goodlow is split to the right. Duckett inside him. Stabler, wobbly knees, fires, incomplete. The pass was intended for Wayne Wilson, and Willie Harper, among others, defending on the play, the linebacker. It'll be 3rd down. You don't want Kenny Stabler to have to run too much, do you?
Well, he's not going to. He'll just make sure he doesn't, but he will get out of trouble and do what it takes. And that time he rolled out of a problem and looked downfield and saw Wilson on a linebacker, Willie Harper, and tried to get it to him, but didn't really have it on the money because he was throwing on the run.
Tina Turner with a pretty good rush on the play. 3rd and 6 at the 9. Groth, Duckett, and Goodlow. Wide receivers in there. Pass incomplete. Looked like it was intended for either Goodlow or Groth. They were crossing in front of each other. And it was the kind of a play that I think Kenny Stabler takes a second look and said, well, something was wrong there.
Receivers extremely close together, but keep in mind how many times now he is going to the left side. He definitely favors it.
So here's Morton Anderson, who's now 12 of 15 on the year. He made good on a 28-yard field goal earlier in this quarter. And with Guido Merkins holding, will try to tie the game up. It'll be a 26-yard attempt. Just under 11 minutes to go in the first half. This kick is up. It is good, and we have a tie game. So the defenses have closed when they've had to, and the field goal kickers hold center stage. And with 10:52 to go in the first half, we're all tied at 6-all. There's our story here in the second quarter. Despite the fact that the Saints got 3 out of it to tie the game, they did have the ball 1st and 10 at the 49er 13 and couldn't get in the end zone.
Both with turnovers. 49ers with a fumble, Saints with an interception, but it added up to just 3 points.
McLemore on the right, Bill Ring on the left, and Morton Anderson to kick off. And high kick, end over end, and it is McLemore at the goal line. Brings it out to the 21-yard line. Tackled by Jimmy Rogers. The 49ers go on offense again, and when they do, they'll bring it out to the 21. When we come back here at the Superdome in New Orleans, timeout. Joe Montana brings out the 49ers 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Wendell Tyler now has Roger Craig in the backfield for the first time in the game. And Montana going up top, 1st down, and he's got Freddie Solomon out of bounds. Russell Gary knocks him there, so the big play man Freddie Solomon in his 9th year wide open.
Solomon came into this game averaging over 20 yards a catch for the 49ers. He has been their deep threat. Runs a corner pattern here. Saints had a blitz on. It was picked up well by the offensive line and the running backs of the 49ers, and Montana had time to get it out there.
There is Roger Craig, who was the first pick for the 49ers. He was taken on the 2nd round and the 2nd leading rusher, but averaging over 3 yards a carry. They have high hopes for number 33 in motion, Roger Craig. 1st and 10 at the 46, and Tyler is caught behind the line of scrimmage. It was Reggie Lewis, and it was Reggie Lewis who went to the same high school as Wendell Tyler out in Los Angeles. So the two know each other very well indeed as you look at the defensive unit together on the sidelines for San Francisco.
Reggie Lewis just in his 2nd year with New Orleans. a 28-year-old rookie last year. He was the oldest rookie in the National Football League.
He played in the Canadian League, led him in sacks 2 years ago. Second down and 11 at the 45. 10 minutes to go in the first half. In motion is Eason Ramson for the 49ers. Montana under siege. And that's the first sack of the game, and it's Rob Nairn, number 55.
New Orleans with a higher frequency of blitzes than most any team in the National Football League, and they brought them all that time. It looked like a jailbreak in on Montana back there. Here it is again, ground level. Nairn coming in. No one picks him up, and he's right over the top of Montana.
Coming into the game, the Saints were second to the Raiders in the NFL for quarterback sacks. That's their 27th. A 7-yard loss. It is 3rd and 18 now, back at the 38-yard line. Montana wants it back. And a penalty flag is down. The pass is caught by Freddie Solomon, who will have the first down unless there is a penalty against San Francisco. And let's wait and see, and it is holding. And Derlin Moore was right there with Gene Barth to make sure it was the right call.
The way it looks down there right now, the 49ers are going to have a few of these penalties today, because the New Orleans front three and the front four, when they have the nickel in, are getting all kinds of pressure on Montana.
68 offense, holding, still third down.
One of the better pass protectors on the offensive line, that was John Ayers holding there.
One of the best pass protectors in the league, number 68, John Ayers, working against Derlin Moore, number 74. You can see what happens, hands out. And he shoves him on by.
Well, now Montana faces 3rd and 28. Back at his 26-yard line, Bobby Johnson. And an audible there by Montana. Number 34 is a nickel back. A lot of yards for Montana. Flushed out of the pocket and down. And a penalty flag is also down. It was Tony Elliott and Reggie Lewis combining on the sack. And another penalty. This is after a 4-yard sack by Lewis and Elliott. Another penalty against San Francisco. And now the crowd has turned up several notches here at the Superdome.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 16. It was a dead ball foul. The down counts.
It is 4th down. And now the 49ers are a bit unraveled at this point.
Unsportsmanlike on the quarterback, who is a true sportsman.
Tom Morris will punt from the end zone, and he had his best day in a 49er uniform last week. Jeff Groth is a single safety back at midfield. It is not a long kick, and Groth on the run at the 45. And Groth brings it to the 37-yard line. Richard Blackmore makes the tackle, and Montana and the 49ers are not at all pleased right now. A 34-yard punt, and the Saints, with 8:57 to go in the first half and a tie game, will go on offense, 1st and 10. A terrific pass rush by the New Orleans Saints. 2 sacks, and now the Saints have good field position. Last time they had the ball at the 49er 13, could only manage a field goal. Now they have the ball at the San Francisco 37, where it's 1st and 10 for Ken Stabler and company. Wayne Wilson, the blocking back, and Stabler's pass is caught by Eugene Goodlow. Eugene Goodlow, who Bum Phillips told us will be the best receiver of a pretty good group by the end of this year. He led the Canadian League last year with 100 receptions.
Stabler looked everybody off that time, looked over to the left where he'd been going most of the afternoon, and then came back and hit Goodlow to the right.
11-yard pickup, 1st down at the 26 of San Francisco. Joe Montana trying to get the offense settled down on the sideline. 8:51 remaining in the first half. 6-6 the score. Wilson gets trapped, and it's Dwayne Board who was right there. So the veteran from North Carolina A&T.
He's upset a little bit. You know, he hasn't had a whole lot of chance to sit back there and throw comfortably this afternoon. Got a penalty on him after that last sack. I think they've saved it, forced down in the truck.
A loss of 3 yards, so we'll call it 2nd and 13 at the 29. Pass to Goodlow. He's got it. Penalty flag down. A fine catch by Eugene Goodlow. Tim Collier was defending on the play, and it's 1st and goal at the 5.
Stabler with good time now. A blitz here by the 49ers. He throws fairly early. And it's right on the money here for Goodlow, who's covered by Collier, number 47, who also picked up the penalty.
So 2 passes to Goodlow for a total of 35 yards. He has not caught more than 2 passes in any game this year.
Stabler just kind of throwing it out to an area because he had to release it a little bit sooner than he wanted to. Great touch on it.
They started at the 37-yard line of the 49ers. 1st and goal at the 5. Rogers and Wilson. The up back is Wilson. 2 tight ends. Brenner and Hardy. Here is George Rogers. He is stopped short, and a fumble. It is a fumble. I believe the Saints have recovered. And now they're going to say that the whistle had blown before the fumble. So Rogers brought it to the 1-yard line.
Straight ahead blocking now here with the lead blocker Wilson, number 30. Rogers into the line. Watch the ball. And it was out early and into the end zone.
Brad Edelman blocked.
Keep it going. Let's see who came up with it. Bobby Leopold is number 45, and he looks like he has possession.
Wayne Wilson and Hokie Gaijan are now the running backs, and it's Wayne Wilson over the top. Touchdown. The 5th touchdown rushing of the year for Wayne Wilson. And the Saints lead for the first time.
Everybody digs out in front and goes low. And Wilson up over the top, hoping to get by the scrape of the linebackers, and he does just into the end zone.
And Morton Anderson with Guido Merkins holding. With 7 minutes and 34 seconds to go in the first half. The conversion is good. Well, they're not wearing the paper bags on their heads, saying ain'ts anymore. It's 13-6 with plenty of time to go in the 2nd quarter.
Here's a fumble by George Rogers that was ruled not a fumble. Now watch the ball. It's out right here before he's down and stopped into the end zone. And Bobby Leopold of the 49ers has it, but it wasn't ruled that way. They said that Rogers was down before he fumbled. So the Saints get a break with that one.
Quick whistle indeed. It's 13-6, the Saints lead, and Morton Anderson kicks it deep into the end zone. 4 yards in, and Dana McLemore will settle for a touchback and bring it out to the 20-yard line.
That's Bill McPherson.
And now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. What do you have, Brent?
Dick, Detroit is having it pretty much its way against Chicago this afternoon. Here is Hipple. He'll hit Dexter Bussey for a touchdown. And now the Lions are up by a pair of scores on Chicago. And let's go back to Dick Stockton.
Tell you, Brent, Chicago Bears continue to struggle under Mike Ditka. Right here, it's 13-6 with 7:29 to go. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Roger Craig and Wendell Tyler are the setbacks. In motion is Tyler. Swing it out to Craig. And there's that defense again. No gain, and Ricky Jackson. Well, in 2 weeks, the NBA returns to CBS, and it should be quite an event, Wayne. The debut of heralded rookie Ralph Sampson of the Houston Rockets.
And your other season starts, doesn't it? You'll be there.
I'll be there, and the Spurs go against the Houston Rocket, and don't forget San Antonio has Artis Gilmore, who's going to give Mr. Sampson a lesson perhaps in the first game, and I think Ralph is going to be a terrific pro. It all starts 3:45 Eastern time. Ralph Sampson's NBA debut in 2 weeks on CBS.
You know, Gilmore will try to move him around a little bit underneath.
A little. 2nd and 10 at the 20. No gain, and the pitch to Wendell Tyler. Tyler finds an opening, and a good cut by Tyler. He may be shy of a first down by a yard. Dave Waymer, the cornerback, made the tackle. So Tyler trying to get unleashed a bit here. He's carried now 8 times. He picks up 9 on that gain, and of course he always is looking for 100 yards. What does he call it? A bill. He said, if I get 100 yards, I've got a bill.
I think he's looking extremely good for a guy who 3 weeks ago had a dislocated shoulder, coming back, and he's taking some good blows out there, and I think it's out of his mind right now.
And he's holding onto the ball, which is important to watch too. Craig and Bill Ring now in the backfield, and Roger Craig leaps up high and picks up a couple of yards and appears to have the first down, which the 49ers do. Bill Walsh continues to have high hopes for Roger Craig.
He thinks that sooner or later he's going to break out and have a big game. He was really their first draft choice, although he came in the 2nd round from Nebraska, where he was a fullback last year.
So Craig leads the game. He was a blocking back, and he scored 26 touchdowns in his last 3 years at Nebraska. So he knows what that end zone is like. As you look at scores around the league, 5:25 remaining in the first half here. It's 1st and 10 at the 32. And here's Tyler with Randy Cross blocking. The penalty marker is down, and Tyler takes it out to the 37-yard line. But as we said, there's a penalty and a hold against the Saints this time. And that will give the 49ers.
Really strange to have defensive holding on a running play.
Yeah, that is unusual. Should give him a first down. Kovac and Ricky Jackson brought Wendell down. Automatic first down for the 49ers.
Defensive holding, number 99. It's a tackle-on penalty, first down.
Tony Elliott, the nose tackled. Bum Phillips is going with Reggie Lewis, Tony Elliott, and Frank Warren. That's his second group of 3, and one of the key reasons, if you look at Hacksaw Reynolds diagramming on the sidelines for the Saints' improvement on defense, is that their depth all around has been better. 1st and 10 at the 42 for San Francisco. 13-6 New Orleans leads. Montana trying to go to Bill Ring, and that's because Reggie Lewis came in like a shot and almost nailed Joe.
Montana thought he had something downfield and really altered that throw right at the last second. I think he made his step in his forward motion to go downfield and then saw that close up and had to dump it over to the right.
Talk about the depth for the Saints. Derlin Moore told us that he says the backups on the Saints now are better than the starters were 6 years ago.
Bum Phillips says without a doubt that is the strong point of his team, their depth.
2nd down and 10 at the 42. 5:11 remaining in the first half. Saints lead by a touchdown. And Ricky Jackson misses Montana, gets it off to Wendell Tyler, who's hit at the 45. So Jackson just missed getting a sack. Greg Stemrick and Dennis Winston made the hit on Wendell Tyler.
Jackson coming in, the linebacker number 57 right there, a no touch, nobody to pick him up as Tyler ran by him. Surprised Montana, surprised Jackson, he got in there so cleanly. Tyler didn't pick up much, but it saved a sack.
There's no question that the Saints defense is causing a lot of problems for the 49ers.
Montana hasn't had a lot of time back there at any point today.
Jeff Moore is in the game along with Bill Ring. Montana, not much time there. Gets it off to Bill Ring into New Orleans territory. And Bill Ring barrels his way to the 31-yard line. Frank Watlett and Bobby Johnson bring him down. And once again, Montana under siege. Got it away, and Ring did the rest.
Yes, he did. Derlin Moore, number 74, the nose tackle, shows up from the left side right here. And Montana once again has to throw on the move out of the pocket. Gets it to Ring, who was uncovered at midfield. And he'll get some tough yards for you.
He sure will. That was a 23-yard pickup for Bill Ring. Ray Wershing getting set in case he's called upon. It is a 1st and 10 at the 32. 3:50 remaining in the first half. Each team has the full complement of timeouts remaining. An audible. Called at the line by Joe Montana. Montana to Jeff Moore. Hit at the 25. It'll be second and about 4. It was Dennis Winston and Tony Elliott who hit Moore, and I guess you'd have to say that Winston has set the tone with the physical intimidation that the Saints now have on defense.
I think he's the leader of the defense as far as being intense and making big hits. Of course, he came from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 56 did. The Saints got him for a 6th-round draft choice from the Steelers, and they thought he had a bad back, and he said, I was fine all the time, and Bum Phillips knows that because he's known me since I was in high school. Bum tried to recruit him when he was in high school for Oklahoma State.
2nd down and 3. Up the middle, Roger Craig, about a yard short of a 1st down. Third down and a yard, and the defense of the Saints clamped shut every time the 49ers have threatened, limiting their output to 2 Ray Wersching field goals. It was 6-0 at the end of the quarter. Wersching with field goals of 23 and 32 yards. Anderson came back with 2 before Wilson went over from a yard. 3 tight ends in there for the 49ers on short yardage. And in motion is Earl Cooper. And here's Roger Craig in a fake, and it goes to Cooper. He has the 1st down and out of bounds. And on a play like that, the 49ers scored a touchdown earlier this season.
Montana that time play action fake, and when it's 3rd and 1, it's going to hold you for a while. Cooper was the man in motion coming across the formation right there. He fakes it into Craig, pulls it up right away, gets it out to Cooper, who was wide open, and Cooper, Bill Walsh says, is one of the best in the league after he gets the football. Russell Gary came over to make the stop.
So Wayne, Earl Cooper now has caught a pass in every regular season game he's played in. That's 48 straight. Good percentage for Montana today. He has a 1st and 10 at the Saints 16. And here is Wendell Tyler busting inside. Jim Kovach got a high move on him and a good block by Roger Craig as we're winding down to the 2-minute warning.
John Ayers, the left guard on the pull out there, also got a block, and you saw the burst by Wendell Tyler, which just the great backs have. When he turned the corner, the next 2 or 3 steps were as fast as anybody's in the league.
Well, this is our 2-minute warning and a chance for the 49ers to talk things over. When we come back, it'll be 2nd and 5, but the Saints have the lead. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker back at the Superdome. The San Francisco 49ers coming into last week were the highest scoring team in the NFL, averaging some 33 points a game, but they were held to 7 by the LA Rams and have only 6 points with 2 minutes to go in the first half against a team whose defense is equally as tough and maybe better than the Rams, Wayne.
Well, I think they are. They're extremely active, extremely physical, and they're every bit as good as Los Angeles, if not better.
2nd down 5 at the 11. In motion, Freddie Solomon and Roger Craig cutting inside. Getting close now to the 5-yard line and close to a possible 1st down. We may have a measurement. Kovach and Derlin Moore make the stop on Roger Craig, who had to play the running back position when Wendell Tyler was out of action.
Get a measurement here, Dick. Now, this will be the 3rd time that the 49ers have been inside the 10-yard line of the New Orleans Saints. They have yet to score a touchdown. It'll be very important for them, not only just to tie the score up here, but for their attitude. As you see, it was good. 1st down. For their attitude to get the 6 points and get back in this ballgame. I mean, they're not out of it, but I mean, get back to where they're level.
Well, as you know from the past experience, the 49ers like to have that lead into the second half. They feel more comfortable so they can run the ball and use their clock. Each team with 3 timeouts remaining. It's 1st and goal at the 5 for the 49ers. Montana has completed 14 of 18, 129 yards and 1 interception. And Roger Craig hit once, gets inside to the 2-yard line. And that was tremendous effort by Craig. It took Frank Watlett and Johnny Poe on the outside to finally bring him down.
Yes, it was. It was designed to go over left guard, left tackle. He bounced it out right here, and then Dennis Winston came up and made a pretty good hit on him. He ran right out of that tackle and picked up some valuable yardage.
2nd and goal at the 2. Montana came into this game with the best completion percentage in the conference. Bill Ring and Roger Craig back there now. And it's Craig. Stopped short. Penalty flag is down as Craig is stopped at the 1-yard line. And this could be an important penalty here. Dave Waymer made the hit.
We've got guys pointing both ways. Frank Waddlett pointed towards the Niners. Montana pointed towards the Saints, but it looks like it will be against New Orleans.
It was 6-0 in favor of the Niners. Anderson with field goals of 28 and 26 yards. And then Wayne Wilson scored the touchdown to make the difference so far.
74 defense, offside. We'll replay the down. It's still second down.
So it's still 2nd and 1. 2nd and goal at the 1. Derlin Moore. Francis, Cooper, and Ramson, 3 tight ends. Craig and Ring the backs. And it's Roger Craig. Did not get over the goal line. And they're going to really make the 49ers work for it. They have that much, as you saw Gene Barth indicate, just about a foot to go. It'll be 3rd and goal with 42 seconds to go in the first half. Less than a foot.
They've got Derlin Moore, 74, down there going low, along with Jim Wilkes. Craig over the top, as you can see, did not break the plane of that end zone.
Whitney Paul, number 51, comes charging into the game, replacing Rob Nairn. Those are outside linebackers. Clock is running. 3rd and goal at the 1. Craig over the top, stopped again. And it looked like he hit a brick wall on that carry.
It did. Look at Dirt Winston.
And now it's 4th down.
And now what? They're deciding. There's a great defensive effort right here by the New Orleans Saints. Paul with good penetration. Ricky Jackson back in the backfield. But I think the hit was made up front by Winston, number 56 originally.
And they've called a timeout with 3 seconds to go. In the first half, it is 4th and goal, and we'll come back with the first half drama after this. The preceding message was brought to you by the National Football League. So the 16th play of this drive is about to come, and Montana has had a lot of time to talk to Bill Walsh, Wayne.
They had almost the same situation last week against Los Angeles towards the end of the ball game, where they had to decide whether to go for the touchdown or kick a field goal. So we'll see what they come up with this time. They were successful last week.
Roger Craig has had 2 chances to dent the goal line, and he couldn't. It's 4th and goal. And this should be the last play of the half. And Montana carries. And he does not make it. The Saints hold. And that is the end of the first half. Jim Wilkes, Derlin Moore.
One of the great goal line stands you're going to see all year long. And when they go into the locker room at halftime, are they going to be pumped up?
They are pumped up now. Look at that team in the black jerseys. Once a doormat of the league, it is 13-6. The Saints hold their lead.
Low shot here, Montana on a quarterback sneak, but there's just not much there. In fact, he might lose the football early, and he's knocked back as his helmet crosses the goal line. But I don't know whether he had control of the ball or not. We couldn't see.
They had 1st and goal at the 5, and on 4th down, Joe Montana's quarterback sneak is stopped by New Orleans defense that has done itself proud. Ray Wersching with 2 field goals. It was 6-0. The 49ers had their lead sliced to 6-3, and then it was 6-6. The first time this year the 49ers have trailed at halftime. Halftime at the Superdome in New Orleans. Both teams are back, where the Saints lead the 49ers 13-6. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker. And if you look at the halftime statistics, you think the 49ers were winning by a big margin.
Just kind of throw that whole thing away right there. For instance, on the first 49er drive, it went over 8 minutes, but during those 8 minutes, the New Orleans defense was asserting themselves and proved to the 49ers that it was going to be a tough day, and it has been.
49ers 3 times have been inside the New Orleans 10, and they've come away with only 2 field goals. That's the story, and we'll be back. Well, the kind of defense the Saints are playing, Wayne Walker, who is a great linebacker with the Detroit Lions, remembers full well. He was in a lot of these kinds of games as Ray Wersching kicks off to Duckett at the goal line. And Kenny Duckett trying to go outside, showing his speed, is upended at the 22-yard line. Dana McLemore coming up next. Oh, most of you will see the Eagles against Dallas. That ought to be quite a clash. The Cowboys unbeaten, coming from behind every week. Philadelphia 4-2. We talked to Dick Vermeil yesterday, and he knows about this rivalry as well as anyone.
Well, when he was coach last year and they did not have a good season, they played their best game against Dallas, and the Eagles always seem to do that.
And Vermeil knows that you've got to really hold the Cowboys down.
15 or 17 points or less, he said. Then you got a shot at it.
Last year, Vermeil's Eagles beat the Cowboys in Dallas. 1st and 10, and Wayne Wilson going outside on 1st down. And he went out quite a splash as he moves the ball up to the 31-yard line. Tim Collier ultimately made the stop. That's Ken Stabler's first half statistics, most of the action on the ground. But he knew when to pass. And Eugene Goodlow on the receiving end of 2 straight passes for 35 yards to set up the only touchdown in the ball game. 13-6 the score. Groth comes out left, and Lindsey Scott wide right after the 7-yard pickup. 2nd and 3. Wayne Wilson has the first down. He showed terrific moves in a crowd, and Wilson has a first down at the 40.
What the Saints have done here to start this second half have come out with double tight ends and just one back in the backfield. They're using the ace backfield, nothing fancy. They're going to pound at the 49ers for a while. The block over here on Willie Harper by number 85, Hobie Brenner. Wilson cuts it up inside and gets big yardage like he has the last 3 weeks.
So he has carried twice for a total of 16 yards right off in this 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 at the 40 for the Saints, and another audible called by Kenny the Snake. Quick toss, wide receiver screen to Lindsey Scott, but read perfectly by Tim Collier. Collier, again, we must tell you, playing in place of Ronnie Lott, who still didn't work out, and they're not losing much with Collier in the defensive backfield.
No, they haven't. He had an excellent game last week, plays this extremely well, reading the quarterback and the receiver, comes right up after the ball's there and makes an excellent tackle.
Collier played the entire game last week as Bum Phillips talks to his assistant coaches. Free agent pickup in his 8th year, originally with Kansas City, and played 2.5 years with St. Louis. Ronnie Lott now has come into the ball game for the first time, and Stabler under siege has the pass intercepted by Tim Collier, and Collier is hit at the 45. So just as we get through telling you about what Tim has meant to this team, Collier picks off his 3rd pass of the year. One of them he ran back for a touchdown.
Wasn't quite clear who Stabler was going to that time. Perhaps it was number 87, the tight end Larry Hardy. A blitz that time. You see Reynolds coming in on it. He breaks free, hurries Stabler right here, throws a little bit unset. Now throwing it away right there, looked like he wanted to keep it away, but it was Collier that came up with it low.
Well, now we'll see what the 49ers, thanks to their defense, can do on offense when they bring it up 45-yard line. 1st and 10 when we come back. Wayne Wilson teaming with George Rogers and developing into a pretty solid backfield for the Saints, but right now the 49ers have it 1st and 10 at the 45. Bill Ring and Wendell Tyler, and it's Tyler off left tackle. Good acceleration, picks up 8 yards. Ricky Jackson makes the tackle on Wendell Tyler. At his best game as a pro against the Saints. He's carried 11 times now for 35 yards. Acquired from the Los Angeles Rams. Of course, could afford to make that trade with Eric Dickerson being drafted by them. And the running back the 49ers have sorely needed for several years. 2nd down and 2 at the 37. This time Tyler again, 1st down, runs head on into Jim Kovach, but has enough for the 1st down.
49ers 2 times in a row now come with 2 tight ends lined up on the same side of the field and then run away from that. So they must have spotted that when they come with 2 tight ends in the first half that New Orleans shifts their line that way. So they're going back to the weak side. I would fully suspect, Dick, any moment for Montana to spread the receivers out and try to get the ball downfield and get it quickly.
He's at the 40, make it the 34-yard line. Wayne Wilson exercising his knee. Jeff Moore is in the backfield now with Bill Ring. Moore, good receiver, play action, and Montana lofts it. It was intended for Eason Ramson and almost picked off by Dave Waymer. And that pass was just nowhere near the target.
Francis and Eason again lined up on the same side. Russ Francis is the tight end, split about 2 yards out, and Eason is in a slot right behind him. That time they tried to work a combination pattern over on the right side with Francis running straight up the field and Ramson running a shorter pattern to the corner. And it was overthrown by Montana.
Once again, Joe under pressure and a safety blitz. Russell Gary was coming on in there. Second down, 10. Alan Kennedy, a former Washington Redskin, a 10th round draft choice, number 66, replaces Keith Fawnhorst at right tackle. Nearly 3 minutes gone by. Third quarter, another safety blitz. Montana gets it off to Jeff Moore. And Moore brings it inside the 30-yard line. It'll be third and about 5. And Whitney Paul, as good a linebacker and pass coverage as you'll ever see, made the tackle on Jeff.
Looked like Montana was going to have some time initially right here as he drops back into the pocket. Watch the left side of your screen. Watch the safety blitz. Number 20, Russell Gary came in. Montana saw him and had to dump it out here to Moore.
Dennis Winston helped Paul on the play. Third down and 5. The ball at the 29 of the Saints. 13-6. The Saints lead the 49ers. Nickel defense in there for New Orleans. Montana gets it off to Wendell Tyler, who can't hold on. It's an incomplete pass. And it'll be fourth down. So once again, the New Orleans Saints, who have stopped the 49ers at every turn, limiting them to just 2 Ray Wersching field goals in the first half, hold the Niners, and now Wersching will try to connect with his third field goal of the game.
And Dick, you don't have to sack a quarterback to give him problems. They're just getting good penetration. They're getting their hands up back there. It's difficult for Montana to see downfield. He's throwing in between arms and having to move around down there. Just a little bit unsettling for him all afternoon.
It'll be a 47-yard attempt. He's 10 of 11 for the year. Montana holding. It's long enough. And it's good enough. And Ray Wersching is 3 for 3 today, and he has been the 49ers offense. We have 11:10 remaining third quarter. It's now a 13-9 game. So a momentous field goal for Ray Wersching. Not only that, the 47-yarder was his longest of the season. 49ers have punted only once in this game, and Russell Erxleben hasn't been in the game at all. Tommy Davis, the leading field goal kicker all time for the Niners, as Wersching's kick is fielded at the 5-yard line by Jimmy Rogers, and he might have stepped out of bounds at the 6-yard line, and that's what they call. Let's check some scores from around the league. Detroit, Chicago coming back. Lions leading 17-10. Wayne Walker's old team. The Cardinals over Tampa Bay 20-6 in the third quarter. Pittsburgh rolling it up on Cleveland, looking like they'll take the lead in the AFC Central. Minnesota solidifying their lead in the NFC Central. And San Diego leading New England there at halftime 21-10. Miami over the Jets. And Buffalo-Baltimore tied in the first quarter. Ronnie Lott now is playing strong safety, number 42 for the 49ers. First and 10 at the 6-yard line. Wayne Wilson trapped. And Ronnie Lott was the last man on the tackle. And that's perhaps what the 49ers need more than anything, is some physical play in the secondary. They're getting some good play by Collier, but they need Ronnie Lott.
Lott injured his ankle and his knee a couple of weeks ago in a game against New England. Has not practiced at all. Did not practice last week. Didn't play against the Rams. Did not practice at all this week. Just observed, but he's in there now because it's an emergency.
Sure is. No gain, second and 10 at the 6. Stabler to pass. And he's going up top. Overthrowing Kenny Duckett. Eric Wright was covering on the play. So Stabler, who rarely goes long, he likes those short patterns to the possession receivers like Groth, and to the tight end like Hobie Brenner trying to get out of danger with one play.
You don't have to gun it down there 50, 60 yards to throw it long. If you time it right, 30, 35 yards is a long pass. He had it there.
3rd and 10 at the 6. 49ers, of course, always prefer to have their nickel defense, as they have in there right now with Fred Dean and company. They had their nickel most of the time against Minnesota in their route, but last week, Fred Dean hardly played in the first half, and hardly at all in the second. On 3rd and 10, Dean trying to get in there, and Wayne Wilson trying to find room. He's hit at the 10-yard line, and so the 49ers, with aggressive and tenacious defense, Jim Stuckey and Ron Ferrari right there to prevent Wayne Wilson from getting an opening, and it'll be 4th down.
Now Wilson turned about a 2 or 3 yard loss into picking up a few yards on this one with some great moves. Stabler back, and Dean will come in from the left side, get some penetration. Let Stabler get away from him and toss it over here to Wilson. Now watch the moves. Dean will miss him right here with a great sidestep. And Wilson picks up some important yardage and gets him completely out of the hole.
So for the first time today, Russell Erxleben, who's second in the NFC, tied with a 42.1 average, will kick. And there is Dana McLemore. Normally Freddie Solomon has been back there, but McLemore, and a good high kick. McLemore at the 46. From past midfield and hit at the 40-yard line. So the 49ers will have good field position once again, and this time Scott Pelleur makes the tackle. So the 49ers, who are trailing 13-9, have a chance to move the ball. 10-year veteran Keith Bonhorst, second to Willie Harper in point of service on the 49ers, is back at right tackle. 1st and 10 at the 40 for Joe Montana, following a 43-yard punt by Erxleben. And Wendell Tyler gets hit hard at the 35-yard line after getting an opening by Jim Kovach. Number 52. We're going to correct the score at halftime. We had 13-7 Miami over the Jets, make it 20-7 for Don Shula's team. Kovach, the inside linebacker, who calls the defensive signal.
Guy is going to be a bona fide doctor. Needs about 28 more hours.
University of Kentucky. 2nd down and 5 at the 35. Quick pass, and Solomon was the intended receiver, and the pass was behind him. But once again, Johnny Poe covering on the play. And there's the snake, Kenny Stabler, who really has had a terrific rejuvenation after 10 years at Oakland and going to Houston, back with his pal Bum Phillips.
Everybody on this team really loves him. All the young players, they say that they have 3 buses when they go on the road, traveling from the airplane or going to practice. And the guys on the team kind of watch what bus Stabler gets on, and then they all run and get on that bus so they can sit by him.
Yeah, he doesn't just hang around with the big guys. He likes to spend time with the people on injured reserve and people who hardly ever play. Big part of the story here. 3rd and 5. No gain up the middle. Wendell Tyler tried to find the same opening he found before, but came up naught. And it'll be 4th down.
In a passing situation that time, Montana and the 49ers tried to, pop a quick trap through there, anticipating perhaps that New Orleans would be in a blitz and then get Tyler in the secondary right away, but he ran into a wall.
Ricky Jackson and Tony Elliott make the stop. Wayne Wilson being tended to.
Here's Wayne Wilson, and you go to George Rogers. Or vice versa.
Right. Well, Wershing is going to try a 53-yard field goal. The longest he's ever made was 50. And it is a kick that is long enough, and it is good. Ray Wershing with a 53-yard field goal, the longest of his career. And now the 49ers, who have depended on the toe of Ray Wershing, are within 1 point of the New Orleans Saints. We'll be back. 49ers into Saint territory 6 times, and they've come away with 4 field goals. It is 13-12, the only touchdown in the game. Wayne Wilson a 1-yard plunge, and the Saints lead is 13-12. Jimmy Rogers and Kenny Duckett are back as Wershing will kick off for the 49ers. 7:54 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And it's Jimmy Rogers, former Oklahoma running back at the 2. And brings it out to the 16-yard line. Jeff Stover makes the tackle on Rogers after an 18-yard return. So Stabler, who had no room in his own end zone, and Erxleben had to kick it off. Don't forget, coming out, Philadelphia, Dallas, following our game. Dick Vermeil giving way, of course, to Marion Campbell. Vermeil, of course, now a CBS commentator. And Philadelphia has indeed beaten Dallas without Wilbert Montgomery in the past.
One of those games that Dick said you don't have to tell the Eagles who they're playing this week.
Says enough, huh? 1st and 10 at the 16. George Rogers coughs it up, and here the 49ers recover at the 15-yard line.
Bobby Leopold, I could tell by the black shoes. Is he in there?
Yeah, that's it. That's the guy.
Yes, it is. Number 45, Bobby Leopold. Plucked it out of midair, the fumble by George Rogers. Usually when a fumble like that comes out of there, it means that somebody got a helmet on the football, but I don't know. It may have just been a matter here of Rogers kind of tripping over his own man and losing control of it. Tripped over Stan Brock, the guard, number 67, and then Leopold took it in midair.
A big break for the 49ers as Rogers coughs it up for the 2nd time today. It is 1st and 10, San Francisco at the 15 of the Saints. 13-12, New Orleans leading. And Keith Farnhorst, or is that Randy Cross?
False start, 71 offense.
It was Keith. False start, 5 yards. So that's not the way Bill Walsh would like to see this drive start.
You can almost tell maybe what they had called that time.
False start, 71 offense, still 1st down.
Roger Craig was in the backfield with Bill Ring, and he's come out of the game. And Wendell Tyler has come in. So it'll be Ring and Tyler in the backfield as you look at Farnhorst and the tight end Russ Francis. 1st and 15 at the 20. Clark to the top of your picture. Solomon to the bottom. Tyler in motion. Montana's pass caught by Wendell Tyler, but he didn't get much. In fact, well, he got about 1.5 yards. That's all. Dave Waymer makes the stop. Tyler's first game back. He was injured in the Atlanta contest, suffering a dislocated left shoulder.
Motioning his hand like he wants to come out for a second or so, get a blow or get an equipment adjustment, but he motioned himself off, and they're making a substitution for him.
Eason Ramson replaced him, so the 49ers apparently going with a one back right here. Bill Ring. 2nd and 13. Montana's pass. And Freddie Solomon knocked out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and about 2. Russell Gary makes the stop. We want to remind you that this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is prohibited.
In respect of the New Orleans rush and the way their defense have been playing, Dick, Montana's passes this second half have been mostly play action and quick releases into the short to medium area. They haven't been able to get downfield because of the pass rush of the Saints.
Moore and Ring in the backfield. The up back is Ring. 3rd and 4. And here's Jeff Moore. And Jeff Moore is stopped short by about 1 yard. So once again, the New Orleans Saints continue to stop the 49ers, a prolific offensive team, from scoring a touchdown. Let's see how close they are, and Bill Walsh is not going to take any chances. He's going to bring in Ray Wershing and try to take the lead. Right there was Derlin Moore, the nose tackle, and Johnny Poe, and the crowd here at the Superdome gives the Saints defense a well-earned applause.
The 3rd time that the 49ers have come up with a turnover here this afternoon, and the 3rd time the 49er defense, or the New Orleans defense, has kept them out of the end zone for the 6th.
24-yard attempt by Ray Wershing to give the 49ers a lead. And the kick is good. So Ray Wershing is 5 for 5 this afternoon, and he has kept the 49ers in the game. 6:09 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and it's 15-13 San Francisco. Walker here in New Orleans, where the 49ers have regained the lead thanks to Ray Wershing, who has, for the first time in his career, connected on 5 field goals and tying a 49er record set by Bruce Gossett 10 years ago against the Denver Broncos. Rich Maudie and Kenny Duckett are now back, and it's going over to Duckett's side. Duckett at the 7. Cutting inside. Penalty markers fly all over the place. Milt McCall and Dana McLemore combined to bring down Kenny Duckett, but we'll see what the penalty is.
Well, we mentioned a couple of old-timers from 49er place kicking days, huh? Tommy Davis and Bruce Gossett.
Yeah. Illegal block following the 14-yard return by Duckett against the Saints. So Kenny Stabler has really not had the luxury of any kind of decent field position so far in the second half.
He can take this team on as we'll listen to the call.
Illegal block in the back. Number 99 during the run back. First down.
He has been a past master, as I was about ready to say, on taking teams on long controlled marches. He calls his own plays in that huddle. Bum Phillips says that I can't ask the questions in the huddle that Kenny can. He'll ask a guy, can you handle him this play? And the guy will say yes. Kenny knows that on the field. That's why he calls him.
6 minutes to go in the third quarter. First and 10 at the 9. Stabler going up top looking for Lindsey Scott, and it's overthrown. It looked like Scott got a late start on that pattern going up on top.
Well, actually what he did, Dick, he ran an out pattern on Eric Wright towards the sideline at about 12 yards and then took it upfield, trying to get Wright to bite on the short one.
Eric Wright defending on the play. Leading rusher for the Saints today is George Rogers. He has gained 35 yards on 9 carries. Wayne Wilson has 21 and 8. Well, the Saints' last 3 possessions, talking about field position, have started at their own 6, the 16, and now the 9. Second and 10. And the flip to George Rogers. Tripped up at the 12-yard line. So it'll be third and a passing situation now. Keena Turner made the play for San Francisco. Joe Montana, second rated in the NFC, had 12 touchdown passes in the last 4 games before being shut out last week against the Rams, and of course shut out so far in this game against the Saints. Third down and 9. Make it 3rd and 5 at the 13. Groth, Duckett, and Goodlow, the wide receivers. Stabler up the middle, tipped away by Bobby Leopold on the pass intended for the tight end Hobie Brenner.
It's a great move by Leopold, who playing strong safety, we said, for the second game for the 49ers. He has been a linebacker, was a starting linebacker as a rookie. Made a good move to the football. You just kind of don't expect that from a guy that's played linebacker.
And you remember him at Notre Dame, where he did play some safety position.
Played a little bit there, and then he played an East-West Shrine game at safety. That was the only way he could get in the game. Tell him I'm a safety, I'll play.
One of the 2 Niners who've been married since the season started, Bobby Leopold, who is college sweetheart, and Dwight Clark. Here's Russell Ertzleben, got off a booming punt his first time from the end zone, now having to kick there again. And Dana McLemore is back at the 40. Good kick by Ertzleben, and McLemore back at his 40 is hit immediately by Rich Maudie, and a penalty flag down on top of it. Maudie had made the play. So that was really uncalled for Jimmy Rogers, perhaps, because Maudie had McLemore nailed. Personal foul against the Saints.
I think McLemore surprised everyone that time by not calling for a fair catch. Maudie was down there breathing on his face mask when the ball got there.
That was a 51-yard punt from the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 41, first down.
Okay, Rich Maudie, number 84, just waiting for McLemore to make the catch. Rogers is number 41. McLemore's down and Rogers is on top. Ill-advised.
Certainly. 49ers now at the 47 of New Orleans. And Montana going deep for Freddie Solomon, but step for step is Johnny Poe. Johnny Poe, number 25, who is a buddy with Eric Wright, his corresponding number with the 49ers. And Poe and Eric Wright, both from East St. Louis, Illinois, same hometown, and they were both college roommates at the University of Missouri. Well, next Saturday, CBS brings you more exciting college football action, beginning with the NCAA today at 3:30.
Texas against SMU. Texas has got that great defense, Dick. They're just hammering everybody right now.
And SMU comes in with the longest current major college unbeaten string, 21 games. Big college game next week on CBS. 2nd and 10 at the 47. An audible called for by Montana. Bill Ring cuts inside. Hit once and gets to the 42-yard line. It'll be 3rd and a long 5, maybe 6. We understand, as we've seen, Wayne Wilson has had his knee worked on. He's twisted his knee, and he's questionable as to his return. Jim Wilkes made the tackle on Ring on that play. It'll be 3rd and a long 6 now for San Francisco. They have not been able to dent the Saints, and of course the big play of the game, as Wilson sits, was that 1st and goal at the 5. They had 3 shots from the 1 at the end of the half and came up empty. But they lead, the 49ers do, 15-13. 3rd and 6. Montana drills it. Incomplete. Ronaldo Nehemiah into the game. And Johnny Poe defending again. And an elated group of New Orleans Saints defenders. It'll be 4th down.
Poe got help from number 49, Frank Wadlett, who came over and made contact just as the ball got there.
So Tom Orris, who has punted only once today, will be kicking. Former Miami Dolphin. There's Jeff Groth back. 3 minutes 58 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. 15-13. The 49ers lead the Saints. High kick. And out of bounds. And a good kick for Tom Orris. And let's see where they spot it. Just short of the 15-yard line. So once again, Kenny Stabler is going to start. That's the 4th drive in a row inside the 16. And right now, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, Neil Lomax was carving up Tampa Bay until this happened. Hugh Green, who sat out the first half because of a hamstring injury, intercepted that pass, ran it into the end zone, and the Cardinals are in a dogfight. They lead. Let's go back to Dick.
All right, Brent. So it's Hugh Green, Ricky Jackson, both teammates on that fine University of Pittsburgh defensive unit. George Rogers in the backfield. It's 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Screen pass to Kenny Duckett, trying to get free, and Duckett almost did. He was stopped at the 18-yard line, and a good play by Ricky Ellison. Kenny Duckett, whose big play against Atlanta was that 41-yard kickoff return that set up the final drive. He's the 3rd leading receiver on the team. 3rd round draft pick last year.
Might be the fastest player on the New Orleans team.
Ronnie Lott is in now at strong safety number 42. It is 2nd and 6 at the 18 for Kenny Stabler. Draw play. And Rogers is hit. Jim Stuckey, who was the 20th player picked 3 years ago. Saints, their best field position was their own 24.
You see, they started from the 6, the 16, and then the 9, and that really limits what you can do offensively. You can't take any risks when you're down in that area.
3rd down and 5 at the 19. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Goodlow, Groth, and Duckett are all wide. Eugene Goodlow has it in the 1st down. Short of the 30. Eric Wright makes the catch, and Stabler zinged it to Goodlow.
He had Groth and Goodlow on the same side. They worked kind of a combination pattern. Groth took it down, and Goodlow kind of dallied around and then used him as a pick and cut in behind him. Eric Wright on the coverage, number 21. And Stabler had it right on the shelf.
So for the first time in his brief NFL career, Eugene Goodlow with 3 catches, more than any other game. 2 had been the previous. The 1st down story, under 2 minutes to go now in the 3rd quarter. At the 31st and 10. Stabler dropped. Goodlow again. And Tim Collier defending.
Well, any question about that man's arm, if he has any zing left or not. Those last 2 passes were on wires.
Most accurate passer in NFL history from Gulf Shores, Alabama. 37-year-old Ken Stabler. Kelvin Clark replaces Louis Oubre at right guard. Stabler's numbers today, 2nd down and 10. Kenny has some time up the middle. And Eugene Goodlow, I believe, at the 49-yard line, made the catch and took quite a lick from Dwight Hicks.
Goodlow, a rookie out of Kansas State, as Dick told you. He played 3 years in Canada. And right from the start in training camp this year, Bum Phillips knew this guy was going to be a good one. So it'll just be a matter of time until he'll be a force in our offense. He's been that today.
He left Kansas State after his sophomore year, so he wasn't eligible to play until this season. Comes off on his own power, but he's got to be sturdy to take a lick from Dwight like that, and it is a 1st and 10 for the Saints at their own 49. 1:08 remaining, third quarter. Stabler has him out of danger. He gets that pass up, and it's intercepted by Dwight Hicks. Hicks still going at the 30. One blocker in his way, and Dwight Hicks goes in for the touchdown. And it was a block by Tim Collier that set him free, and Hicks.
There was an initial rush put on Stabler. Someone got extremely close to him. It was Ronnie Lott, I believe, on a safety blitz. Stabler threw a weak pass up and threw it right to Dwight Hicks, number 22, who started up the middle, got to the side, had one man to beat. Tim Collier eliminated him with the block. Let's watch now. Here's Stabler. Ronnie Lott, 42, safety blitz, back by Stabler under pressure. There is Hicks. Now he's going to cut it out to the outside here. I think it'll be Stan Brock, number 67, the only man that has a shot at him. And watch Taylor, number 47, come up and get in front of him.
And that's the 4th interception this year that the 49ers have returned for a touchdown. Just off the mark, intended for Kenny Duckett. A return of 62 yards. Injured Saint on the field, so 4 touchdowns on interceptions this year by the 49ers. They returned 1 against the Vikings and 2 against the Cardinals. And for Dwight Hicks, it's the 2nd one he's returned for a score this year.
And it's as quiet in the Superdome as it has been all year long.
Stabler got hit hard. Don't forget, he's been playing on fragile knees. Kenny Duckett, the injured player, comes off. He's all right.
Duckett up and okay, but he's sandwiched between number 21, Eric Wright. And it was 50, Ricky Ellison, the linebacker, back there in pretty good shape, 20 yards deep.
So Ray Wersching will try to put the 49ers up by 22-13. And he does, and so San Francisco leading by 9 points now, 22-13. Wersching with 5 field goals and 1 conversion. So it took the 49ers up to 53 seconds to go in the third to get a touchdown in the game. Right now, for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, Eric Hipple was knocked out of the game, so Gary Danielson came on for the Lions, and he threw this touchdown pass to Ulysses Norris. And now the Lions have opened up a little daylight, 24-10. Let's go back to Dick.
All right, Brent, big win for the Lions over the Pack last week, trying to do it against the Bears now. Kenny Stabler. A lot of players, Duckett on one end and Stabler on the other, took some shots on that play, but Dwight Hicks, 62-yard return on an interception, and the 49ers lead 22-13.
Which means, Dick, that New Orleans has to get on the board twice, once with a touchdown and with at least a field goal to go ahead in this game.
It's been a highlight game for Ray Wersching, who has scored himself 16 points, and that's the most he has ever had in his career in one ball game. He'll be kicking off now. Kenny Duckett and Rich Maudie are back for the Saints. And the capacity crowd, which has been loud, never louder than they were on that goal line stand to conclude the first half, as Wayne mentions, virtually silent right now. Kick coming up short, and Duckett at the 3. Drives it out to the 29-yard line. Good return by Kenny Duckett. Jeff Stover makes the tuck. Dwight Hicks, 25-yard kickoff return, and Hicks goes back to work quickly. It's the thing about returning a run like that on an interception, you have to go back to work in a hurry.
That's right. Get your lunch pail and go out there again.
And a new quarterback for the Saints is Dave Wilson, who was the first-round draft pick in the supplemental draft a couple of years ago out of the University of Illinois. Out all of last season with a knee injury suffered in the first game of preseason. We saw him and have seen him in several games, and he's got Rodgers and Hokie Gajan. So a twisted knee. Kenny Stabler, they think he might return. First and 10 at the 29. And Wilson will put it up on the first play, and he's hit from behind. Dwayne Board made the hit. We did not see the signal that it was an incomplete pass.
Didn't see. It looked like his arm may have been in motion as Board hit him, but no signal yet. So they rule it a fumble.
Final seconds here.
Watch closely here. Watch the right arm of Wilson. Board will come from the left of your screen. It was just a pump fake, and then he was bringing it back again, so it was a good call.
And it was a fumble indeed, and there is the gun. Ending the third quarter. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The 49ers 22 and the Saints 13. And we now pause for a word from your local station. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker at the Superdome as we start the fourth quarter with the 49ers leading the Saints 22-13. Dave Wilson, the quarterback, coming into this game completing 7 of 12 for 121 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and Wilson going to the air again. And this time hitting his fine possession receiver, Jeff Groth.
It was a great throw by the young man Wilson right there, who played his college days at Illinois under Mike White, who is a developer of quarterbacks. He was in California and had some great ones. He's had Wilson at Illinois, Eason most recently. And this one was right on the money to Groth in front of Collier.
And a first down for the Saints at the 40-yard line. (22-13), and as Wayne mentioned, the Saints need 2 scores to take the lead. Fred Dean trying to get inside, and Wilson going up top, and there is Groth again. Groth with a first down into 49er territory at the San Francisco 49, and Eric Wright defending on the play. Tough man to defend against.
Well, he gets tired of hearing this, but Kenny Stabler says he's like Fred Biletnikoff with speed. Groth says he wants to make his own identity, and he has. He runs the short routes as good as anybody in the National Football League.
Don't forget Mike Renfro. They compare him to Mike Renfro of former Houston. Wide receiver. First and 10 at the 49. Wilson, he has a big league arm. No one ever questioned that. He just needs some experience, and he is the future at that position for the Saints. Hokie Gajan hit at the line of scrimmage by Jack Reynolds. Jack Reynolds makes the hit.
He made a read and stepped right in the hole and waited for Gajan to get there. When he's sitting over there on the sideline drawing up things on the chalkboard, he's not doing it for his benefit. He knows what's going on out there.
Dean comes out of the game, replaced by Keena Turner. So it'll be 2nd and 9 at the 48. Dave Wilson in for Ken Stabler, who completed 10 of 20 for 105 yards, but threw 2 interceptions. He's out with a twisted knee. And now we understand Wayne Wilson will not return to the game. That'll hurt the Saints. Dave Wilson's pass complete to Lindsey Scott at the 35. Tim Collier right with him. And a penalty flag is down behind the line of scrimmage. And it appears to be against the 49ers.
49ers came with a blitz that time, and New Orleans picked it up exceptionally well. Gave Wilson the time he needed to get it downfield.
A face mask call. Maybe Keena Turner. He was the only white shirt we saw back there where the flag was dropped. And that'll be a break for the Saints, who have lost right now Kenny Stabler, who may return. Although the way Dave Wilson is moving the club, he may not have to. And Wayne Wilson, who is out. A 13-yard pickup on the pass to Lindsey Scott.
Now the 49ers aren't going to their...
With a face mask penalty, 65 defense. It was only a 5-yard penalty, not a first down. So it's a choice. They refused the penalty and took the first down.
That was on Lawrence Pillar's number 65. As I started to say, the 49ers haven't used much of their nickel defense, even though New Orleans has been in passing situations, and it might be because they don't have a whole lot of healthy defensive backs.
So 2 passes to Jeff Groth and 1 to Lindsey Scott. Wilson is 3 for 3 on this drive. 1st and 10 at the San Francisco 35-yard line. Draw play. George Rogers gets a couple and hit. Rogers was rusty when he came into the game against the Falcons last week. He gained 41 yards and 10 carries overall, but late in the game he showed the kind of moves that he had established in previous years.
I think that's a common thing when a guy hasn't played for a couple weeks, especially at the running back situation. Wendell Tyler much the same this week. Rogers, of course, holds the rookie rushing record in National Football League, over 1,600 yards his rookie year, and that one's in jeopardy this year because of Eric Dickerson.
It was simply sensational. Rogers, as you saw, 42 yards and 12 carries, 2nd and 8 at the 33. Long count by Wilson. Fred Dean, penalty flag down. And the pass by Wilson going to Kenny Duckett in the end zone is knocked away by Eric Wright. But the flag was thrown, and right there holding as Stan Brock, the right tackle, couldn't keep Fred Dean out of there.
They're moving Dean around. They're playing a 3-man line, and they have him in there now because he's their best pass rusher. He lines up at both ends. That time he lined up on the left side against Brock, number 67, beating him the outside.
It's 22-13, the 49ers lead. Ray Wersching has kicked 5 field goals, and the only touchdown for the 49ers, a 62-yard return on an interception by Dwight Hicks just before the end of the 3rd quarter.
Now we get the 49ers nickel in.
Holding, 67 offense, still 2nd down.
Fred Dean is number 74. 67 is Stan Brock, the offensive tackle for the Saints. Dean with great quickness and strength for a man 235 pounds playing the defensive end position. And Brock pulls him down for the penalty.
Well, Ronnie Lotta's in the game.
And Richard Blackmore, number 44, a new acquisition.
Former Philadelphia Eagle, picked up last week when the secondary became awfully thin. They're at the 43. A lot of time remaining. 13:02. And Dave Wilson falls down. Fred Dean. And now we have a penalty. A penalty, late flag thrown. Kenny Stabler, 37 years old. Could be spry, but right now feels maybe his age.
Well, he's just downcast because he's not in there. Wilson that time tripped over someone's leg on his pass drop. He went down. Dean came in and touched him, and if there's no penalty, Dean will be credited with a sack.
Be the 2nd sack for the 49ers today.
Tripping on number 63 offense. Penalties refused. 3rd down.
Because of the sack, the penalty on Brad Edelman is refused. It was tripping. Detroit opens it up now 24-10. 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh over Cleveland for 1st place in the AFC Central Division. Minnesota in the 4th quarter in control against Houston. And now Miami has opened up a 30-7 lead over the Jets, and Buffalo also over Baltimore 2nd quarter. 3rd down, 26 yards to go, and the Saints back in their own territory at the 48. And Wilson is in trouble and down at the 40. So the 49ers, with their best pass rush, comes when they need it. After Dave Wilson had moved him with 3 quick passes, this time it's Dwayne Board.
Dwayne Board, who perhaps is their most consistent and best all-around defensive lineman, can play both ways. A stun on, you see Dean coming from the right. He's in the middle now. Board will come from the left, beat a man, and then fall back in to Wilson. Again, it was over the top of 67 Brock.
And this place can quiet down in a hurry, that's for sure. Russell Erxleben back to kick. This will be his 3rd kick of the game. The first 2 came from his own end zone. High kick. Dana McLemore coming in, and penalty flag down. He didn't have enough room.
No, they touched him before the ball got there.
So the Saints committing penalties on nearly every play now. That was Rich Maudie. Penalties are really hurting the Saints, and they were virtually penalty free against the Falcons in their victory last week.
I think they really seem dispirited now, and a lot of it has to do with number 16 Stabler sitting over there on the bench. You know, when your main man goes down, the guy that you look up to, your leader, it does take something out of you.
But they're not out of this game. There's a lot of time.
A lot of time. 12:18 on the clock, and they got to get it together.
Interference with the opportunity to make a fair catch. 84, first down.
That was Rich Maudie. Here it is.
There's number 84. He's down there early. You'll see his hand come across before the ball gets to McLemore.
So the 49ers will have the ball close to midfield when we start. 12:18, a lot of time remaining in this fourth quarter. Saints have turned the ball over 4 times. There have been 2 fumbles by George Rogers and 2 interceptions thrown by that man Ken Stabler, who's out with a twisted knee right now. One of them returned for a touchdown by Dwight Hicks. So it's awfully quiet here in the 49ers with Wendell Tyler getting to midfield for 3 yards. Penalties have hurt the Saints lately. They've been penalized 6 times for nearly 60 yards. Jim Wilkes and Derlin Moore make the tackle. Coming up next, it'll be the unbeaten Dallas Cowboys against the 4-2 Philadelphia Eagles in what has been a terrific rivalry in the NFC East.
And Dallas has been escaping more times than Harry Houdini this season.
Philadelphia beat them last year, and Dick Vermeil, of course, has been part of the whatever success the Eagles have had. Now it's Marion Campbell. And defense is the key for Philadelphia in that game, as Dick Vermeil told us yesterday. So it's 2nd and 8 here at midfield. And Tyler again to the 45. This is where Bill Walsh likes to keep the ball on the ground to use up the clock.
Well, he says, you know, our stats may not look as good in the second half a lot of times as they do in the first, because we're playing as good, but we're just playing in a different way. He says we look to win in the most positive way we can, and when you get a lead in the second half, the most positive way to do that is to run the ball, go away from the short passing game a little bit, run the ball, let the clock wind down after 32nd, and use some time. He says when a team gets ahead and they keep throwing the ball downfield a lot, you can bet that the plays are being called by the offensive coordinator, not the head coach.
So Joe Montana now, 3rd and 3 at the Saints 45. On the ground again, and Bill Rain thrown for a loss. And Frank Watlett's still spirited, that's for sure. He comes up with a fist in the air. Dennis Winston, Jim Kovach were the ones that made the tackle.
And then there was a 57 back there too, Ricky Jackson. A good surge by the defensive people here. The first hit made right there by Rob Nairn, number 55, the right side linebacker, and then some help from his friends.
So with 10:38 remaining in the fourth quarter, it is 4th and 4. Tom Morris will punt for the 49ers, and Jeff Groth.
49ers will take a penalty here, delay a game penalty. Let the 30-second clock run down and then kick it.
So they'll just move the ball back to the 49, their own 49. 10:21 remaining. Won't take too much to get this crowd stirred up again. They're trailing, the Saints are, 22-13. They had a lead of 13-6 in the second quarter when they scored the touchdown on Wayne Wilson's 1-yard plunge. Delay of the game. Wershing with his 5 field goals, including the longest of his career, 53 yards. That put the 49ers in front. Then he added his 5th field goal, which tied a 49er record, and then the interception by Dwight Hicks to open it up to 22-13.
Some confusion out there now with the 49ers punting team, and they could ill afford a mistake here.
Don't tell me they're going to let the clock run down again. They get it off just in time. Almost blocked by Tyrone Young. And a fair catch called for by Jeff Groth inside the 15-yard line. And terrific coverage by the 49ers on that punt.
Tyrone Young, the 6'6" wide receiver, broke through and came very close to getting a hand on the football, but Orris got it away, and New Orleans will take over in their own territory.
Deep. Well, for the first time since the Saints have played in the Superdome, they've had back-to-back sellouts. 68,154. 1975 was the last time. 1st and 10 at the 13 now for Dave Wilson and George Rogers. Is stopped without going down by Ricky Ellison. Well, now for an NFL Today report, Let's find out what Brent Musburger has to report in New York. Brent?
Dick, as you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were rallying. They got the ball back. They were attempting to drive for the tying touchdown. Jack Thompson put one up that was picked off by Benny Perrin, his first interception of the game. Let's go back now to Dick. 2 minutes to go on that one, Dick.
All right, Brent, we'll keep posting on the end of that ball game. Hokie Gaijon and George Rogers are in there, and growth is in motion. And up the middle, Hokie Gaijon. Gaijon breaks a couple of tackles and brings it out to the 32-yard line before Dwight Hicks makes the stop. Gaijon reminds a lot of people of Bill Ring, although he's 20 pounds heavier with his story.
A local guy, and he played at LSU, and he's probably their most improved ball player this year, Bum Phillips said. He's a real tough kid that does everything they want. New Orleans is doing the right thing here. They've still got plenty of time, and they've got to come and pound at the 49ers a little bit on the ground and get him thinking run, and then maybe sneak one downfield on him.
You know, Bum Phillips, who has the experience, will make sure his team knows that they don't have to be impatient. 14-yard run. And by the way, that ties the longest rush in Gaijon's career. 1st and 10. Wilson gets it out to Gaijon again, and Hokie breaks a tackle. Still going. First down, Saints. And now the crowd is alive again.
That'll pick the crowd up, and that'll pick his teammates up. You see a guy putting out that kind of effort, and it pumps you up some.
Dwayne Board the tackle.
Here it is again now. You see Gaijon 46 out on the screen, slipping out to the left side. He gets it right here. A block on Dean right here, who looks like he might make the play, and then just good tough running by Gaijon.
8:20 remaining, 4th quarter, 1st and 10 for the Saints at their own 43. Keep in mind they need 2 scores to take the lead over the 49ers, who are up by 9. Wilson perfect in relief so far of Kenny Stabler. Goes to Rogers. And Rogers is stopped after 3 yards. Lawrence Pillars makes the tackle. Pillars, one of 13 children, the former New York Jet. Bum Phillips is 60 years old.
Well, he's a great man. I've never talked to a team where just unanimously every player you talk to wants to talk about their coach first, about what a great gentleman he is. They say that he interrelates and interreacts with each of them as individuals.
And he likes them to get together at lunches, meetings with different people. He wants to really mix this team up. It's worked for him. Rogers on the swing pass, and George Rogers to the 30. Dwight Hicks made the stop, and a great block by Brad Edelman, and George Rogers got ahead of steam and has a first down at the San Francisco 31 on the big play of the game for George.
Starting to pick it up now. Watch Fred Dean will be out here in a flat number 74, but Louis Obrey, number 66, wipes him out with a block. Rogers cuts it up inside, and Edelman, number 63, was downfield. So the Saints in business now. They're across the 30.
Just under 7 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 at the 30. Wilson 5 for 5 now for 69 yards. Jimmy Rogers is in, and he's carrying the ball, going wide, trapped, and Eric Wright makes a fine play, a shoot-top play at the 30-yard line.
The 49ers in a 3-4 defense now, but Fred Dean is in there, and he's playing the linebacker.
Gain of 2. You know, we're talking about Bum Phillips. He received a gift that he's going to treasure forever from Mary Harmon. That was Bear Bryant's widow, and that was a houndstooth cowboy hat with a red feather. And he knew, of course, he's always been one of Bear Bryant's proteges in many ways, and he showed us the hat. He's going to put it around glass and going to make a trophy out of it. He was touched by it. Hokie Gaijon. And Jimmy Rogers in there, and Wilson has to run for his life. Tina Turner and Ronnie Lott. He loops it up in the air, and Eric Wright comes down with it. Eric Wright with the interception brings it out to the 20-yard line.
But it was just a great effort by number 42, Ronnie Lott. He came in on a safety blitz from the left side, missed Wilson the first time. Wilson rolled out to the left. Lott gathered himself, came back and hit his arm just as he threw. Now watch Lott, number 42. He'll be coming in from the left of your screen. Beats the block right there. He'll be coming. Lott, number 42, keeps hustling and makes the hit just as Wilson starts to throw, and it's a dying quail out here for number 21, Eric Wright.
So interceptions by Eric Wright, Tim Collier, and Dwight Hicks today for the 49ers. That's the 4th interception of the year for Eric Wright, who leads the team, and we'll be back. (22-13), the 49ers lead the Saints and have the ball with 5:38 to go. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line following Eric Wright's interception. Montana trying to use up as much time as possible, gives it to Roger Craig up the middle.
And Dick, now the New Orleans defense has to take some chances. They got to blitz and try to go after the ball and pop it out of there and make a turnover.
Well, tonight on CBS, look at that lineup. It begins with 60 Minutes, followed by Alice, One Day at a Time, the Jeffersons.
And you can say goodnight to Beantown because they're listening to us.
Okay, good night Beantown and Trevor John MD. A terrific lineup tonight on CBS. Hope you're watching. 5:06 and running here in the 4th quarter. 2nd down and 8 at the 22. In motion is Wendell Tyler. And Roger Craig going wide. And Roger Craig down the sidelines. And Roger Craig has one man to beat. Johnny Poe runs into his own man. And he's finally tackled inside the 10-yard line by Russell Gary. So the biggest run of his career as a rookie here. Roger Craig gets free on what I think all Bill Walsh wanted was just a few yards going wide.
And Craig got to buy Keith Fahnhorst a steak dinner because Fahnhorst got a block over there that was just overpowering. He's kind of on a pull. He's got to block the outside linebacker. Look at number 71 take him down. Randy Cross had Dennis Winston down. Fahnhorst had Ricky Jackson down. Craig was untouched, got to the sideline, made a cut. So he's got a couple thank yous going to Cross and Fahnhorst for that effort.
A 71-yard gain, and that's the longest this year. First and goal at the 7 with 4 minutes to go. Longest run from scrimmage this year. And here is Wendell Tyler, who gets inside the 5-yard line on 1st down, and the longest last year. So that was a long gain. You have to go back a little bit to considering the 49ers problems on the ground to see who's gained more than 71 on one play.
Yeah, I would imagine you'd have to go back to the days of Delvin Williams when he was playing, or perhaps Wilbur Jackson. Paul Hofer had good days for him in the past, but I don't think he had one over 70.
2nd and goal at the 3. 3.5 minutes remaining. Here's Tyler going wide, and he's going to be tripped up by Russell Gary. Russell Gary has had a banner game on defense for the Saints today. In fact, the Saints have had a banner game on defense.
Well, and he's a tough one at strong safety from Nebraska, a 3-year veteran. And when he was at Nebraska, they may have somebody more powerful than him now at defensive back, but he was the strongest defensive back in Nebraska history, number 20.
Loss of a yard. Bill Walsh feeling a lot more comfortable about things right now with under 3 minutes to go. It'll be 3rd down and goal at the 4. So Roger Craig busts one for 71 yards, and play action pass. Montana going to Earl Cooper. In the end zone, it is incomplete, defended by Dave Waymer. 71-yard run by rookie Roger Craig was the longest run since Wilbur Jackson's 80-yard scamper in 77. So you were right on it.
Montana stays on the field. Of course, Wershing coming in. You see him going through his routine there of not looking up and patting Montana on the shoulder pads. He's a little bit superstitious. He doesn't have to be today. He's got it going today.
Could set a 49er record with his 6th field goal here. Montana holding. It'll be a 23-yard attempt. And this kick is up and good, and Ray Wershing has set a San Francisco 49er record with his 6th field goal, and he's one short of the NFL record of 7 set by Jim Bakken of the Cardinals.
Here's the big run by Roger Craig, the rookie. As we mentioned, the 2 blocks we pointed out, Cross and Fahnhorst. Craig gets to the sideline, and he played tailback at Nebraska for a couple of years, but then gave way to Jarvis Redwine and Mike Rozier and moved to fullback. So he's got good speed. This is why the 49ers drafted him. Bill Walsh said he was going to have a day like this pretty soon. And today was a good one to have it, especially when they needed it right here in the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, 2:33 to go, and we'll be back. It's 25-13 the 49ers, but it's not as easy as the score might indicate. This has been a struggle for San Francisco. Roger Craig with first big run of his career, and Ronnie Lott with him. The kickoff by Ray Wershing, and Rich Mauti is at the 5-yard line. And Mauti is down at the 17 by Earl Cooper. Well, after the Saints, Wayne, stopped the 49ers on the 1-foot line at the end of the half, you'd have thought New Orleans had the momentum, but in this half, the 49ers have outscored the Saints 19-0.
A lot of that had to do with the field position that the Saints had in about their first 3 or 4 possessions. They didn't have much of a chance to take any risk with the ball.
Well, most of the country will see the Eagles 4-2 against Dallas 6-0, and that rivalry is a terrific one. And Dick Vermeil, who's now a CBS broadcaster, remembers the first win that Dallas had. It was a Monday night on a 4th down pass. Tony Franklin had a 59-yard field goal, and he's got a lot of those memories. Shared a few of those with us yesterday. 1st and 10. Tim Collier over the top of Lindsey Scott. And a 1st down at the 30. Ray Wershing, who is perfect until he missed that field goal that was blocked by Ivory Sully at the last play last week, has come back with 6 field goals this week. And you have to give him a lot of credit. He kept the Niners in the game offensively for a long time. Incomplete, out of bounds. Saints' second half possession speaks for itself. While most of you will see the Philadelphia-Dallas game, many of our viewers on the West Coast will see the LA Rams against the Atlanta Falcons, and that's an important game in the NFC West, Wayne.
The Rams came into this one 4-2, tied with New Orleans and the 49ers. And Atlanta's had their problems lately, but you can't expect that that team with all their talent is going to stay down for too many more weeks.
Our 2-minute warning will return. Couple of disappointed stars on the Saints bench. Kenny Stabler, who was at one out with a twisted knee, and George Rogers, who's made his first start since he was out of action for a while with a twisted knee. It suffered in the second game against the Rams. But this Saints club is a definite playoff contender. 1st and 10 at the 30. We have 1:56 remaining. Jeff Groth comes in motion. Dave Wilson has been in there and has done awfully well. He's going up on top for Tyrone Young. And the pass behind him and off to the right. Dwight Hicks was covering.
And you mentioned about the Saints being a playoff contender, and they are as you look at Wendell Tyler on the bench, Dick. Bum Phillips told us yesterday that he doesn't try to sell his team into winning every game, because if you do, then they really can't handle a loss. He feels that 10-6 at the end of the road will get his team in the playoffs.
He's a realistic head coach, and they believe in him. And, Ricky Jackson was the one who really set the tone. He said, I hang around with a lot of guys on this team. He's got to believe it. 3rd and 10 at the 30-yard line. Tyler has gained 53 yards and 18 carries today. 3rd down, Wilson, Tyrone Young, and Collier hits him. It'll be 4th down and about 5. You can't fault the New Orleans defense at all today. They have played a marvelous football game. The 49ers got breaks because of their defense and their opportunistic abilities, recovering 2 fumbles and intercepting 3 passes.
And you kind of had the feeling all day that because the defenses were playing so good that it was going to be a defensive play that would probably turn this game around, and it was. It was the big interception return, 62 yards by Dwight Hicks for the 49ers.
Final score, the Cardinals outlasted Tampa Bay 34-27. So the Bucs still struggle. And Pittsburgh leading Cleveland in the 4th quarter. So on 4th down and 6, the Saints trailing by 12 points with 1:42 to go are forced to go, and Ron Ferrari on the blitz. The pass is incomplete, and so the 49ers will take over on downs. Eugene Goodlow is the intended receiver. 1:37 remain, and Dave Wilson met Ron Ferrari.
Teammates at Illinois.
Absolutely. I wonder if he said hello.
They did.
So it's the change of possession now, and the 49ers go on offense. 1st and 10. Keep in mind, it'll be Philadelphia and Dallas coming up next. Undefeated Cowboys. Can they come from behind once again, or will they have to?
Well, they've been on the cliff about 5 or 6 times all year, and you know, Dick Vermeil said they may be coming from behind to win at the end of every game, but that is also the mark of a great team.
Pitch to Wendell Tyler. He's got Randy Cross blocking, and Tyler breaks a few and carries Johnny Poe down into the end zone for the touchdown. Wendell Tyler, what a return he's having today as he caps it with a 34-yard touchdown run. And the 49ers add to their total.
Well, it just shows you what that man, number 26, can do. You can stop him for a while, and then he'll pop one on you. Good blocks again. 51 is Cross on a pull. Russ Francis has a good block on an inside linebacker. Winston misses the tackle. Tyler runs by the tackle of Waymer, number 44, and then pulls Poe into the end zone.
Third touchdown of the year rushing for Wendell Tyler. He now has 87 in this game, 87 yards, and so Bum Phillips now has to think about next week when the Saints travel to Tampa Bay. Ray Wersching adds to his point total, and so now it's 31-13, and all of a sudden the 49ers point total back to where it was going into last week's Ram game. Wendell Tyler, who was born in Shreveport, Louisiana, coming back to his home state. Of course, he went to high school in Los Angeles at Crenshaw High, and out of breath right now, and that ought to boost him. And I think Roger Craig ought to be sky high going into next week's game.
And as we said, this guy's got to handle it, and he will. He'll have New Orleans ready again next week. But you remember that Bill Walsh said that if the 49ers could hang in for the next couple of weeks while everybody got healthy. They have been bothered with injuries quite a bit. Wendell Tyler was one. Ronnie Lott, John Hardy, Pete Kugler was banged up a little bit. They've had some injury problems. He said if we can just hang in and keep our heads above water the next couple of weeks, we might really be tough down the stretch when everybody's together.
Well, for Bill Walsh's team, it'll be their 7th in a row on the road, 13 out of 14, and 10 straight on artificial turf. And what about that DC-10 record, too?
They threw the DC-10 down here again. What are they, 10-0 or something on a DC-10? Or 11, I think it's 11 now.
Wersching will kick off. Rich Baudy and Kenny Duckett are back for the Saints. 1:28 remaining. And it's picked up by Stan Brock, the short man. And Vince Williams knocked him down, and now we have a few tempers getting away, and the flags fly. Blanchard Montgomery was in and out of that tag team match. Tina Turner and Dwight Winston, or Dennis Winston. Here are a couple of guys that like
Dennis Winston will show up.
Yeah. He'll be there.
I'll guarantee you.
Tony Elliott coming off the field. It's frustrating for the Saints. You can feel it, how frustrating it has to be for them because that unit played so well today.
Well, no question about it. And Winston's a tough player. Came from a tough system. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's added a lot to this ball club, and they're down right now.
1:21 remaining. Well, he didn't get the nickname Dirt for nothing, did he?
No, he said no. That's how the nickname came about, because he's mean and was perhaps at one time a little bit dirty on the field. He told us that himself. He said, "I'm still mean, but in a different way."
Both players are disqualified. 61 San Francisco, 99 New Orleans. They're both finished for the game.
Jesse Sapolo, the rookie from Hawaii, and Tony Elliott out of the game. There's Tony.
Well, it cost him just a few bucks for that from the league.
There's Jesse, 11th round draft pick from Hawaii. 49ers rushed for 190 yards in this game as Tyler and Craig each rushed for 87. The Saints, who have been running the ball awfully well, rushed for only 90. So the 49ers stopped the running attack of the Saints today. It's one of the things they had to do. Dave Wilson on a blitz, and this is caught by Eugene Goodlow. who's awfully close to a first down. Fred Dean storming in on Dave Wilson on that play.
Wilson showed great courage. He hung in there right at the end and didn't flinch at all as he released, although Dean was right in his face.
Ray Wersching, 2 field goals, gave the 49ers a 6-0 lead, and then it was 13-6 New Orleans on a touchdown. And then second half, all San Francisco. This pass to Hokie Gajan is complete, run out of bounds by Ron Ferrari. Big story of this game, though, Ray Wersching with a club record 6 field goals, including a personal high of 53-yarder. What a season Ray Wersching is having.
You know that kickers like Wersching and Morton Anderson would love to play every game inside on a carpet with the elements are not a factor. There's not any wind blowing and sets up nice on the artificial turf, and kickers love it in here.
Wersching is 14 for 15 on the year.
And that one was a block.
Dallas, Philadelphia coming up next. For most of you, Dave Wilson running out. This pass is caught. Keena Turner all over Larry Hardy, the tight end. By way of a moment, we want to thank Marty Aronoff, who does a yeoman job in our booth week after week.
I'll second that emotion.
And the guys in the truck. And we'll tell you who they all are. The executive producer, Terry O'Neill. The senior producer, Chuck Milton. And our game producer, David Dinkins Jr. and Bob Daly, our director. Mitch Goldstein, our associate producer, Mike Frank, and all the guys that helped put this broadcast together, our thanks. So 41 seconds remain here. And the timeout called by the New Orleans Saints, who will now go to Tampa Bay next week with a record of 4-3, while the 49ers will have a 5-2 mark and await the result of the Rams and the Falcons. And I want to remind our viewers out west that they'll be seeing that Atlanta-Los Angeles game. And some of you will be seeing the Giants at Kansas City back east. Philadelphia-Dallas, the feature game, the undefeated Cowboys against the 4-2 Philadelphia Eagles. Wendell Tyler has already started. There you see what under his jersey what it's like to protect that left shoulder.
He had a special apparatus to help his shoulder under his shoulder pads.
Second down and 3. Wilson to Hokie Gajan. Does a little dance with Ron Ferrari. Cuts inside. Looks like he'll get the first down. He does. To the 35-yard line. 32-13. A score here. 32-13. And a happy bunch of 49ers will get on that lucky DC-10 and go back to San Francisco. Tyler, like Roger Craig, each with 87 yards today. And the 49ers defensive secondary with the interceptions, 3. And now the Saints call their last timeout with 27 seconds to go.
You would almost think at a point of the ball game like this that a team behind like New Orleans with no opening would not call a timeout, but they got to get out there by the name of Dave Wilson that wants to play and get a feeling of the last minute or so and do all he can do.
All right now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, the Chicago Bears have got a chance to pull one out against Detroit. They've got about 6.5 minutes to go. Vince Evans popped this one into Matsui now, and so they're within striking distance, 24-17. Back to Dick.
They sure are, Brent. That would be a big boost to the Chicago Bears if they can do that. San Francisco leading New Orleans 32-13. Ray Wersching, 6 field goals. Other kickers who have 6 and 1.
Talking about the NFC West and how difficult it was and how close it was going to be. They both feel, and so does John Robinson, who we talked to earlier in the year, that the NFC West is the toughest division right now in the National Football League. And if it's not now, it will be in 2 years, because all the teams, Atlanta, the Rams, New Orleans, and the 49ers, are all young teams and will just get better just by being together.
It's going to be a good race right down to the wire, not only for the division champion, but a wild card berth could come out of this division. Wilson way back there is sacked by Fred Dean. So Fred Dean chases Wayne Wilson, or Dave Wilson, all the way back to the 48-yard line.
Back there with Jeff Stover, also had a hand on Wilson.
The 4th sack by the 49ers today. He'll be going to Anaheim for the rematch against the Rams next Sunday. Wayne will be there. We'll be there for that contest, and Gaijan on the receiving end, and that will do it for the game. For Wayne Walker, this is Dick Stockton saying so long, and here in New Orleans, the final score, the 49ers 32 and the Saints 13. Coming up next, the second half of our doubleheader, CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League. We'll see either Philadelphia, Dallas, Giants, Kansas City, or Atlanta at LA Rams will continue after this word from your local station.